This is the meeting of August 26, 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the applicable portions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been given. This meeting is posted on the bulletin board located in the corridor of this building and published in the newspaper on January 11, 2019. Councilwoman Noonan will offer a prayer, and Councilman Bacchione will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I would like to do this prayer that was given to me by a police officer. Lord God, my Father, I pray that you will give me and my fellow officers strength and courage in the fields of battle that we may encounter today. It is so unpredictable, today, even making traffic stops. So help me not to take chances in the line of duty me today. May our missions be to protect, to serve, always to be honorable, just cause for which we are called. Please guide our leaders to act with wisdom and compassion, and those who work with me in law enforcement. Help us to protect and defend the rights of the innocent, which we were sworn to do. I would ask you, Lord, to watch over our loved ones. We are far from home, but also when we are in harm's way. Protect us from injury. I pray not for only peace in the community, but please grant us safety today and all. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione.
Here.
Councilwoman Gingrich. Councilman Burns.
Here.
Councilwoman Noonan.
Here.
Councilman Guadagno is not here yet. Councilman Buccio.
Here.
Council President Gross.
Here. Okay. Ready, Mayor?
You ready?
All right. So at this time, we're going to swear in the new officers.
Well, actually, we'll do two quick presentations.
Do them first? Okay.
Everyone,
Everyone, yeah, I got you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to our Township Council meeting tonight. We have a couple of awards and certificates and proclamations that we're going to do first, and then we're going to swear in our two new police officers. I'm going to ask Janet O'Brien to come on up from the Million Eyes Hope Foundation, and we have a proclamation. I got new glasses, so I got to take them off. It says, whereas each year thousands of children face the battle against cancer with inspiring hope and incredible bravery. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, an entire family and a community are affected. The devotion of parents, grandparents, loved ones, and friends creates a treasured network of support for these courageous children. And whereas the month of September is National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, where we honor the young lives taken too soon and the survivors who face chronic health challenges. And whereas we celebrate the progress made in treatment and recovery, and we rededicate ourselves to fighting this disease so that all children may have the chance to live a full and healthy life. And whereas we pay tribute to healthcare professionals, researchers, social support organizations, parent advocacy groups who work together to provide hope, support families, and find cures for childhood cancers. Together, we carry on the work towards a future in which cancer no longer threatens the lives of children. And whereas here in Berkeley Township, we have many parent advocacy and community organizations whose mission is to improve the lives of pediatric cancer patients with hope and gives their families comfort while creating awareness of pediatric cancer. And one of those groups is Emiliana's Hope. Whereas Emiliana's Hope was founded in honor of Emiliana O'Brien, who at the age of 13 earned her wings on December 1st, 2015, after 6 months of a courageous battle with cancer. Whereas during Emiliana's treatments, her biggest pet peeve was, why doesn't anyone know about childhood cancer? The mission of Emiliana's Hope is to honor her memory and continue Emiliana's vision and generosity towards others, improve the lives of pediatric cancer patients, give them hope, provide their families comfort, and create much-needed awareness. Whereas Friday, September 27, 2019, is Childhood Cancer Awareness Day, and we encourage everyone to wear gold in honor of those who have lost their lives, those fighting, and those who have fought. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Carmen F. Amano Jr., on behalf of the Berkeley Township Council, hereby proclaim the month of September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Berkeley Township, and further encourage all residents to wrap our town in gold to recognize and affirm our commitment to fighting childhood cancer. Now I'm going to have Janet come on up and say a few words.
Thank you very much. I cannot express my gratitude for Berkeley Township. They have not only been there for my family, but all the children here fighting, and especially this year. I don't know if all of you know, but last year my husband passed away in September, so we really didn't do much. So this year to have Childhood Cancer Awareness Day on the last Friday is very meaningful to us, and I appreciate the mayor for doing this for us. Most of my speech was actually in his proclamation, but I will say that childhood cancer affects 250,000 new families every year, and every day 7 children die. Yet only 4% of national funding goes towards childhood cancer research. So last year we were able to donate $10,000 to Emiliana's doctor at CHOP for her research in childhood cancer. This year we have pledged $5,000 to osteosarcoma research, which is the cancer that Em had, to Dana-Farber in Boston. By placing these gold bows on your home and business, you are letting the children and families of Berkeley Township know that they are not forgotten, that you support them in their battle. In the last 5 years, 5 township children were diagnosed with cancer that I'm aware of. 2 of them with osteosarcoma within months of each other, and 2 are currently fighting. So we ask that you keep in your thoughts and prayers these children who are battled or currently battling in town: Christian, Brandon, Trevor, Kane, Jason, and Emiliana. Thank you very much.
I'm sure everybody knows the big gold ribbons as you pull up to Town Hall tonight. And then we have them over at Veterans Park, and we can also have them at our rec center. We're going to encourage everybody to wrap the town in gold for the month of September. We also have the signs that you'll be seeing placed around town to encourage everyone. And of course, Emiliana's Hope Foundation has the gold ribbons here as well. So we encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah. Judy, you got your camera?
Okay. Yeah. We got them across the street.
I know you're cool.
Yes.
next is we want to recognize an individual. I'm going to ask Councilwoman Judy Noonan to explain why we're recognizing this individual.
Yes, we always have special people in our lives, but this is a very special recognition. I'd like to call up Mr. Dave Osborne, and I believe it's Thomas Scott, okay? This is a very unique situation that happened on our golf course. I'm going to I think I'll let Mr. Osborne explain, or we'll start with Mr. Thomas. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. They were out playing golf at our golf course, and they were on the 13th hole. And they'll correct me if I'm wrong. Evidently, Mr. Thomas, Thomas Scott, I'm sorry, was in his cart at hole 13, which is a lake. And I think that he went to move it, correct? And somehow he hit the gas pedal, I think, and the cart went into the lake, which went on top of him, okay? And with that, Mr. Osborne drove in, clothes and all, because now he's pinned under the cart. And he went down to bring him up. I believe that lake is about 25, 30 feet deep, and it's dirty. When he came up first, they couldn't find him. He was floating around in the back. Mr. Osborne physically picked this man up, and he was not standing on ground to save him. He was floating. Am I missing anything in the report, Mr. Osborne? So I think it's very unique that an individual would dive in, clothes and all, and naturally the police came and the first aiders, and then he went to play golf in water. And he made it out. I mean, you know, for someone to just dive in, no thought of his own safety, I think that's a very special individual, and I think he needs to be recognized. And none of us are 20 years old here either. And I think it took a very special person to do that. And I want to give this to you.
Yeah, we'll read it. And on behalf of the Township, we present in recognition of Dave Osborne. The Township Council would like to thank you for your quick and unselfish actions in rescuing Mr. Thomas Scott from the lake at Cedar Creek Golf Course on July 7, 2019. Your civic dedication is a mainstay of community unity and the foundation upon which communities succeed. On behalf of a grateful Township, thank you.
I'd like to mention Arnold is the president of the Silver Ridge Park East Golf Club. Okay? Would you like to give a
You guys want to say something?
Anything you'd like to say?
I just want to thank Dave for his extraordinary effort and bravery and just jumping in without thought.
Right. Like to have the council? Is that our golf?
Dave, you want to say anything?
Yeah.
Not really. I'm just happy to do it.
And how was the golf game the rest of the day?
So I shot terrible after.
You need a stage, hand. What's up with him?
And that's why we did those two first, because I want everybody here to see that. You know, we're very enthusiastic about, you know, our publicity of wrap our town in gold. And when you have a good Samaritan like Mr. Osborne, you know, I want as many people to see the good stuff that happens in our township. All right, I'm going to ask the chief to come on up, and we're going to swear in our two new officers.
Still legal.
All right, this evening we're swearing in two new Berkeley Township police officers. We'll start with Tyler Shan. before I administer the oath. Tyler is 26 years old and was born and raised in Bayville, New Jersey. He attended Central Regional High School and graduated in 2011. We love hiring those Golden Eagles, I'll tell you. Shannon attended Ocean County College and Kean University, graduating in May of 2015 with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Tyler began his career in law enforcement in 2016 as a Class II police officer, first with the Pine Beach Police Department and then later with us in the Berkeley Township Police Department. Tyler resides with his parents Steve and Sandy and his older sister Lacey. His hobbies include playing soccer, which if you ever pass the Shane house, they have a nice big soccer net in front of their front yard, exercising and spending time with his family. On behalf of the Township of Berkeley and the entire Berkeley Township Police Department, we congratulate you on becoming a police officer and wish you great success in your law enforcement career. Yeah, we're good. All right, Tyler. I'm going to need that hand first. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Tyler J. Shan,
I, Tyler J. Shan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will support the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will support the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people,
I shall
I shall
faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of police
of
officer
the officer of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Want to make it official.
It's not official yet, he's gonna. It's officially unofficial.
We're on a low budget. Get that long piece.
Did you not want to be in the picture?
No, I'm not in it, just the family.
That's the long arm of the law.
That's right. I can get you from anywhere.
So watch it.
Any signs like a police officer?
Can you do the handshake one more time? Go ahead.
James Tillett. James Tillett is 27 years old. He was born and raised in Bayville, New Jersey. He attended Central Regional High School and graduated in 2010. He went on to Ocean County College, earning an associate's degree in criminal justice in 2013. James started his law enforcement career in 2011, working for the Seaside Park Police Department. In 2015, he became a Class II police officer with the Berkeley Township Police Department. Most recently, Mr. Tillett was employed as a full-time police officer in Plubsden Township, where he served as a school resource officer during his first year. James resides in Bayville with his parents, Mike and Vicky. He is engaged to be married to Chelsea, a preschool teacher at the Bayville School. On behalf of the Township of Berkeley and the entire police department, we congratulate you on becoming a police officer and wish you great success in your law enforcement career. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, James E. Tillett,
I, James E. Tillett,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of
the office of
police officer
police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right.
Chelsea, please come up.
Can we go more to practice?
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations, welcome to the Berkeley Township family, and any officers in the back, whether you're uniformed or not, if you can come take a picture with our new officers, it'd be appreciated. So, come on up.
You want to head?
No, no, no. Take some of them outside. Let me just swing tight. All right, squeeze in like you like each other. Let's go.
You guys ought to just stay down here until everything's done.
If everyone could just look, raise your hand, please. Me? Yeah. If everyone could just look at her for a minute. Thank you. Okay.
Thanks again, Dave.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, I'm sorry. It's the one. Yeah, exactly. On the engineer's report here, but we still got to add it to the resolution. Perfect. That was the one we added on the official. So you and I wrote it in as number one.
Right, exactly.
Contract. Okay, perfect. Better catch. Tell Bob is good. Thanks very much.
Thank you. We have a big family raising James. Baby. Oh, yeah. Grandfather. Sweet baby James. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ryan. Sweet baby James. You're the only one.
Good.
I like that. I don't know by now. Probably not tell us that.
All right. As it winds down, we're going to go into discussion by administration. Try to start the
The mayor's got the first.
Oh, does he? Oh, okay. Whenever you're ready, Mayor.
What do you need?
Thanks for making it happen.
Mayor, you ready with item A?
I am ready.
All right, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item A, cancellation of taxes, 100% disabled veterans. We have a few, Block 9.51, Lot 12, Block 16.26, Lot 13, and Block 1246.02, Lot 31. They are all on the official. Item 14.1 to 14.3.
Item B is authorizing several refunds. Nicholas Pools for Block 886.03, Lot 6. DK Sledzik Heating and Air Conditioning for Block 1685, Lot 26. They're both construction permits where the work was not done and they're getting refunds. Robert Troda, a duplicate payment for a firearms permit. And Arushi Sood, a recreation program fee. And item number 5 is amending a previous resolution that was done, and there's a minor further amendment. It lists all the people from the first time, and the township clerk has already written in the amendment. It would be that the Bertha Sailing refund of $400 actually gets Barry Carney $200 and Bertha Sailing $200. And all of those items are on the official agenda as items number 14.4 through 14.8.
Picnic approvals, we have 4 applications for picnic approvals: Bayville Senior Golf League, Jose Fine Kozak family at Whispering Pines, Kenneth Page at Veterans, and Beechwood Pine Beach PBA. They're all on the official item 14.9. The following 3 resolutions requesting for council, which is on the official item agenda, which is 14.10, 14.11, 14.12. The first one is making possession of electronic smoking devices illegal for anyone under 21 years old. It's a specific legislation that we're seeking to support on.
Next one we're going to pull.
The next one was already signed into law, so supporting A 4814, which exempts certain homeowners from the imposition of taxes and fees generated by the Airbnb law. So thankfully, it passed both houses and was just recently signed by the governor. And of course, the last one, which is the most interest, which is opposing the assembly version of S 2425, which is the assembly version's A 3851, which impacts common interest communities, and that's on the official item 14.12. I'm going to reserve comments for council comments on that specific legislation, because I know Councilwoman Noonan and other members of the council are going to have something to say on that issue, so I will defer to the comment section. Fred?
Item G is an updating of the county and the co-ops and the state co-ops. There are a number of changes with dates and on the co-ops and also on the state as well, dates as well as contract numbers. And that is on the official agenda. Numbers 14.13, 14.14, and 14.15.
Item H is Chapter 159 insertion grant, the 2019 Drive Sober get pulled over. We get provided a $5,500 grant, and that is to pay for overtime of our officers who are on DWI detail. And just so everybody knows, that runs until after Labor Day. So you're going to see some extra patrols out there looking for DWI or impaired vision, impaired drivers. So that runs through Labor Day, and that's on the official item 14.16. The next is a resolution opposing an agreement between Horizon, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and the American Specialty Health Network, ASHN. And essentially what they're looking to do, and I'll ask John Camera to jump in on this one. This is a request from healthcare providers that are in our community that asked us to put this on. And what this is going to do is limit care visits for what they call chiropractic care, acupuncture, physical therapy, from the usual 30 to 40 visits to probably between 6 and 8 visits. So it's going to be a detriment to all those employees who in our township and just the general public with regards. Now, John, you want to jump in?
I wish I could add more, but I think the mayor has it covered. There's real concern because the American Specialty Health Networks has a history of doing exactly that. They're not supportive of alternative type of treatments, and that could really hurt people's recovery. And actually, I don't get it. You know, most healthcare providers seem to be very aware that the preventative stuff and the non-surgical stuff is really often much more helpful to the people and saves a lot of money in the long run. But Ashley has that reputation, so that's why we're opposing the joining with Horizon.
And that's on the official item 14.17.
Item J is a resolution determining the form and other details of a general obligation refunding bond. This is, from time to time, the township constantly watches interest rates, and it looks to be a good time to refund the 2010 issue, and that is on the official agenda number 13. Item K is authorizing the tax collector to reinstate taxes. If council will recall, about a month ago, passed a resolution for a 100% disabled veteran to have a 50% deduction of ownership on a house. That veteran no longer is at that house, so the 100% disabled vet, the 50% deduction for the 100% disabled vet is now being removed. and that is on the official agenda, number 14.18. Item L are bid authorizations, and there are 3 of them. The first one being for authorizing to advertise for bids for a 2-year contract for the 2019-2020 for maintenance and repairs of the HVAC system. It is for a 2-year contract. The second one is for authorization and advertising of bids for a 2-year contract for electronic credit and debit card payment services. As you're aware, the township currently uses a credit and debit card system, particularly for recreation, construction, some of the other departments. And the third one is to authorize to advertise for bids for a 2-year contract, for signage materials or equivalent in function. That is on the official agendas numbers 14.19 through 14.21. Item M is for bid awards. The first one being for a refuge collection system, automated semi-automatic containers. This is for essentially 500 robo containers. There were 2 bidders. The lowest bidder coming in for amount not to exceed $24,240. And the second one is for awarding of a contract to purchase Allison transmissions or equal in function. There was 1 bidder, and that is, it's also a 2-year contract. And that is, they are on the official agendas number 14.22 and 14.23. And letter N is amending the Schedule C agreement. The Schedule C agreement currently, which we have with the County of Ocean, is essentially for various road overlay, hauling of sweeping and repairs from the county to do. It's like an additional co-op. This is an increase in the contract of $10,000. Originally, it was done for $20,000 for the road department. Now this is moving it up to $30,000, and the budget does support that amount. And that is on the official agenda, number 14.24.
Item O is our annual request to New Jersey Natural Gas. That's where we ask them to send us notification anytime gas is shut off at a property when it was not requested by the owner, so that we have awareness, can let our code department know and be aware of what's going on. And that's on the official agenda as item number 14.25.
Item P is approval from the council to auction off surplus property. From time to time, we get a request from Public Works to dispose of property here for the township. And what we're going to do is, it's on the official, and we're going to use the US Gov bid online site located at usgovbid.com. So we have a list of equipment that was put forth by Public Works, and that'll be available. It's pretty lengthy. We have from vehicles to trucks, plows, mowers, a lot of old vehicles, so a lot of old police vehicles, and even an old street sweeper that we're going to get rid of. So a lot of this has been deemed surplus equipment not needed by the Department of Public Works, and that's going to be on the official, item 14.26.
Thanks. Item Q is our annual Municipal Alliance grant agreement. It's on to whereby we request and have obtained some grant money, and we do our matching sub-partial money and partial in-kind payments, and that's on the official agenda as item number 14.27.
Item R is cancellation of taxes for parcels acquired by the township. There are 7 different properties totaling $3,310.76, and that is on the official agenda, number 14.28.
Item S is finally approving the acquisition of Block 882, Lot 4.01 From the Rinderer family, this was, the council passed a resolution back in 2015 to partner with the Ocean County Natural Lands Trust Fund to purchase the Rinderer property, which is about 12 acres near JFK Boulevard on Route 9. So the Rinderers, through their due diligence, had to comply with a list to make sure the property was clean, and engineers on that property made sure before the county would take title and the township would participate in the purchase, they had to make sure the site was clean. I don't know, Jim, you want to jump in and just to touch, I mean, that was part of the problem that took a while.
That is correct, Mayor. I mean, the property has significant value due to its location, its natural resources, and it'll be a valuable piece of land that's available for the township residents as well as county residents.
Right. And it's next to the Florence T. Allen Conservation Area, so it makes sense to purchase. So that's on the official for, I believe, ordinance item 10.
Yep.
Item T is renaming Morning Star Way to New Beginnings Way. Morning Star Presbyterian Church was sold to New Beginnings Church. There is no homes on that road, so as a request actually was a suggestion by Councilman Bacchione and Councilman Bushio that we change the street to be existent with the church. Doesn't make sense for New Beginnings Church to be on Morning Star Way. So luckily there's no homes on that street, so it was an easy thing to do. So that's also on the official item 11. So New Beginnings Church will be on New Beginnings Way.
Item U is authorizing the vacation of a portion of Locker Street. Unlike most of the typical ones where neighbors request the vacation, this is just a portion of Locker Street that's completely surrounded by township-owned property, so it was the township's request to vacate and make it all part of our property. And that's an ordinance that's on the official agenda for first reading as item number 12 on the official. Letter V is authorizing the Berkeley Township Administration to loan golf carts. Typically, organizations or other townships may ask for golf carts, and in the past, we've often brought each request to the council. We were hopeful that through the years, you've got enough confidence that rather than having to wait for a council, because sometimes they're short notice, rather than wait for a meeting, this is essentially a blanket ordinance that would allow the administration, if another fitting organization needs to borrow a golf cart, we can just do it without coming back to council.
And it coincides with the leasing of the golf course, since technically, even though it's our equipment, the leasee has the ability to use the equipment as well. So this just kind of gives us a little bit more, as the administrator said, leeway to talk to the golf course company to make sure that we're able to use it when it's needed. So it's on the official 14.41.
Thank you. Item W is authorizing the placement of a plaque on the Roberts Avenue bench. We put some benches around different parts of the township, and it was interesting because other townships do this as a regular course, have it in their code book, but we had a resident actually come to us, and I believe it was because of the passing of his wife, asked about being able to put a plaque on, so we had nothing in place to do that. So if this seems to be successful and other people become aware of it and there's any interest, this will almost be like a pilot program. If you're willing to authorize this by resolution for this one bench, then we'll see what the feedback is and eventually hopefully make it part of our code if it seems like a worthwhile thing to do. That's on the official agenda as item number 14.42. Letter X is removing a deed restriction that was on a property that the township sold to the adjoining owner. There was a deed restriction on it that basically said it must be merged with the adjoining property. It was merged with the adjoining property, so the deed restriction is no longer necessary. And because the new owner's title company to give clear title wants it cleared up, so we are the only ones that can remove the deed restriction. And doing that is on the official agenda as item number 14.43. Letter Y is authorizing the execution of a corrective deed. This is for a different property, and when the township did the deed to transfer this property, there was just inadvertently, I think, a typo that put the wrong lot on there, and this deed corrects and puts the right information. That's on the official agenda as item 14.44. And the last one is, again, just pretty routine, letter Z. It's amending a professional services contract. It's for municipal prosecutor. When a law firm is appointed at the beginning of the year and we name the partners or associates that can practice as the prosecutor, if they get a new associate at the firm, then they'll come and ask to have that new associate added. And that's all this does. And it's on the official agenda as item number 14.45.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Okay, 5, comments from the mayor and council. Mayor, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll just touch on a couple things, and I'll let the council go, and then I'll finish up with some other things. I think we should talk with A 3851, which is, as I mentioned before, is the companion bill to S 2425, the New Jersey Common Interest Ownership Act. I appreciate the council's consideration and hopefully anticipated approval of a resolution opposing Assembly Bill A 3851. As I mentioned before, our homeowners association, our age-restricted communities, are all well-run by highly qualified, dedicated volunteers. They all serve their prospective communities very well. They understand the needs of the residents and serve and govern accordingly. We are deeply concerned that if this legislation is signed into law, Trenton will no doubt force its will on and meddle in association business. This is completely wrong. As we always say, Trenton should focus its efforts and energies on getting its own house in order before meddling in homeowners association. And I'm going to defer to, if you don't mind on this issue, to Councilwoman Gingrich and Councilwoman Noonan to speak on this issue as well.
You want them to speak now? Or?
Yeah, speak.
Who'd like to go first?
Yeah.
Speak now.
Who'd like to go first?
Good evening, everyone. And to all the residents watching at home, this is a very important topic that we have to make sure that we address and we get full control over. Our 55-plus communities are under attack by Governor Murphy and his legislators. On June 10th of this year, Senate Bill, New Jersey Common Interest Ownership Act, called S 2425, was approved by the Senate. The state Senate passed the bill 34 yeses and 2 noes. The no votes were Senator Connors and Senator Hosapple. We need to protest and stop this bill S 2425, as it is now scheduled to be presented to the Assembly, and the new bill will have a name known as a companion bill in the Assembly Housing and Community Development Committee, named A 3851, as the mayor just stated. We are waiting for a hearing date to be scheduled. Our mayor, Carmen Amato, and our council strongly oppose state legislation that could impact our local age-restricted communities. We are opposing A 3851, which is now called the New Jersey Common Interest Ownership Act. This legislation is troubling. We cannot allow Trenton to interfere with the operations of our senior communities, especially when there is no need to. Our homeowner associations in our age-restricted communities are all well-run by highly qualified and dedicated volunteers. They all serve their prospective communities very well. They understand the needs of the residents that they serve and govern accordingly. Legislators from Trenton would be all wrong for our communities. The cover page of the bill, which is this bill, 29 pages, is the S 2425, has a synopsis which states, and it's written right here in yellow, revises law relating to common interest communities. That's what they call this. However, in my opinion, that this bill is written so that the layman has no understanding of what it says. It's full of definitions and comments, but I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. And neither could my husband, who happens to be very good with this kind of stuff. It is in every voter's best interest, to see that this bill is defeated by calling your senator and congressman to voice your opinion on this bill that you want it defeated. We also have petitions located at all our clubhouses in Holiday City and Silver Ridge. Please make an effort to go sign the petition. Everyone needs to show support. Judy Noonan has been working tirelessly on this also. So I know she will speak on it now, and we're going to win. I just know we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Judy?
Well, this is letting you know that we're being filmed also. This is going to go online to make an announcement, right? This is now going to be available for people over in South Seaside Park to be able to get the meeting. I had planned to explain why this all happens. I've had a lot of phone calls about not quite understanding what this bill and what's really happening. I'll try to make it as brief as possible. Sophia did a very good explanation, but because of what we have done, I spoke to Assemblyman Conway before I came here. They got a lot of phone calls, but one of the things that he said was that we were not giving out the proper information, that they were not, because this bill affects the 3851 is the companion bill to 2425. Now, they snuck that bill in real carefully. And why this is important, over the years, Trenton has been trying to get into our associations, and I've had to go down this with the Rice Bill, 205, 206. Every day they try common interest bill. And what it is, we were established as a senior community many years ago through the town of Berkeley, that in transferring of deeds and anything like that, we were supposed to sell to 55 only at that time, which was expected and voted on by the state of New Jersey at the time when the builders developed it. Then came out, federal government put out the senior thing in 1999. And in some of the words in there, the word discrimination came out. And that particular word is being used in a way that's in the bill 2425. And why do I disagree with that? Now, we know that we have to be 55 in the community. We are zoned for it. We have a bill, the S88. This I have to make very clear, because when the people called the assemblyman, they said, oh, we're not changing the age. No, that wasn't the issue. But in the past, the town has gotten letters from the state of New Jersey, from the New Jersey Board of Realtors, about that particular language. And we have been said here that we were discriminating against people buying. I have to make that very clear. And I think over the years, we allowed someone to buy for a parent or a mother, whatever. That was never a really big issue. Then we go into court with flippers. There are people in real estate who own more than 5 houses. So I don't think that they're buying for their parents. If this was to get into the bill, because of how the realtors look at it, we're afraid that that will open up Pandora's box. Some of the language, as Councilman Gingrich said, these bylaws, and when I asked her about the bylaws, Conway, well, we all should be uniformed. I don't think all associations are uniform. And as they explained to me, some of them don't have board members that, yes, there are problems in some of the associations. This is true. But this is going to affect condominiums and co-ops. I have reached all the way over to Toms River, Brick, Waretown, Leisure Village, Whiting, Manchester, all the Greenbriers. And their answer is keep Trenton out of our associations. They have been trying to get in there. I will make my statement or kind of will answer all the feelings. I've had lawyers look at this bill. I spoke to Senator Connors. And I want to thank Councilman Gingrich, Marguerite, Janice, and all the people, Terry Lucasi, all the people who have went out to get the petitions. And I also was approached about starting a coalition for all senior communities in Ocean County, because there's people that want to take over the management. This bill has these bylaws, and like Sophia said, who can make hides and hair of it? But that's the whole point. So I'm just going to read my statement, but I wanted some people to understand why it's important, and evidently they're not quite understanding. We are not giving up our age. We are zoned for 55. But it is the transfer of deeds and who is purchasing. A lot of these people want to purchase to rent. A lot of the associations have been approached to buy. They want to break the laws where we have you live in the house for 2 years to rent. Now, I'm not saying everybody's bad, not every realtor is bad. However, I particularly have a neighbor that lives with his father, and it's a slumlord that owns the house, and tells me right to my face, I don't give a damn about your association or the rules or the property. Not everybody does that. I want to make that clear. But when a real estate person tells me that we're discriminating and they own 6 houses, yes, we would sell to a parent and estate. That's never been denied. We allowed the flippers underage. But how we were established for 60 years, we not had a problem. And now we're having a problem. So I just would like to read my last statement. I want people to understand, if they're listening on the TV, so they understand we're not giving up our age as long as Berkeley zones us for 55 in the bill of 55. But I will tell you, the response I have gotten across Ocean County has been phenomenal, phenomenal, because they don't want Trenton in there. And we had that rice bill. People who live through that understand. And I guarantee behind it there's going to be some money involved here. And that's the bottom line. I know that there are problems with some associations. So I'll just read my last. It kind of sums it up all. Bills pending in the New Jersey Senate Assembly will significantly impact all age restriction communities. The pending bills do not specifically address special needs and special natures of age-restricted communities. Every person in New Jersey age community must join together to assert themselves that things are right not to be taken by this legislation. Almost certainly property values will be decreased as a result of the legislation if it is passed and written. Almost certainly our communities will not be governing our fellow residents. Age-restricted communities will be victimized by persons who are not property owners, but only seek to use our communities for real estate commissions. Age-restricted communities by nature discriminate but protect by federal law and state law. We all brought into age-restricted communities for many reasons. Trenton should not dictate the terms of our governing documents which we purchase. We must organize to educate the legislative, the government, to protect our property rights. Our goal is to modify the proposed legislation to address our concerns, not other outside of our communities. And as Mr. Conrad, the assemblyman, called me, said, so I know we reached them, give me a list of what concerns you. So I have to tell you, all your phone calls and our petitions are making a difference. He wanted to know in that bill, the 3851, what are your concerns, and send them to me. So I think maybe we hit a nerve, and I want to thank you, Councilman Gingrich, and all that has helped. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow night is our beach party. It was rained out twice, so it's either going to be third time's the charm or 3 strikes and you're out. So hopefully we'll get nice weather tomorrow night. Thanks, Brian. Tomorrow at a beach party, 23rd Avenue, White Sands Beach, and South Seaside Park at 5:30. A lot of Colada will be playing. Also this week on Wednesday is our 8th annual Night Out Against Crime. That was also rained out earlier this year, so you know, we're hopeful Wednesday the weather looks good. Berkeley Township Police Department will be on hand with our first aid squads, fire departments, and other public safety agencies to greet residents to show the different types of equipment they utilize. All these public safety agencies will have their vehicles on display. This has been a tremendous success since Chief DeMichael and I started this 7 years ago. It allows the public and, more importantly, school children to interact with our public safety agencies. Our award-winning DARE program will also be on hand for prizes. That starts at 5:30, and then we're going to finish the night with the Infernos. At 7 o'clock, they're going to do 2 sets, 7 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock. So they're, you know, America's #1 show band. They really do a great job. And as always, all of our local nonprofit organizations will be there selling refreshments, and it's always a great fundraiser for all the nonprofit groups, so as always, make sure you bring a chair. Another initiative that the chief and I started is Coffee with a Cop. This year's Coffee with a Cop is going to be, or actually this quarter, Coffee with a Cop is going to be at the Pier House in South Seaside Park on September 4th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's just an opportunity for any of the residents out in South Seaside Park, if they had any concerns, or just an opportunity to sit down and have a cup of coffee with one of our police officers. So that's September 4th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Pier House, Coffee with a Cop. Our school supply drive is moving along pretty well. We've gotten a lot of donations, so I just want to take an opportunity to thank Berkeley Township residents again for always stepping up for our school children. But, you know, there's always a need, even though we've got a lot of supplies in so far. If anybody's willing to donate, they could drop it off either at the mayor's office here at Town Hall or our Recreation Center on Route 9. Our next council meeting will be after Community Pride Day, so I want to make that announcement. Community Pride Day is Saturday, September 7th. Beginning at 11 o'clock, we'll have rides, inflatables for the kids. Of course, many vendors, nonprofit groups will be there. At 4:30, we'll be remembering the tragic events that took place on September 11th, 2001 at our September 11th memorial, as we pay tribute to those who lost their lives that day, and of course salute all of our first responders. And of course, sadly, our Sounds of Summer concert series comes to an end on September 7th, Pride Day, in the late afternoon at 5:30. We're going to have Jukebox Legends, followed by New Power Soul to finish us off, so it's going to be a great. Unfortunately, Councilman Guadagno was unable to be here today. His father is undergoing some very intense treatments for cancer, so he's with his dad. So if we can all keep Councilman Guadagno's dad in our thoughts and prayers. But he did want me to mention on his behalf that the farmers market at Bayville at Route 9, and also the farmers market in South Seaside Park, is doing extremely well, and to thank everybody for their patronage. The vendors are having their best year yet, and they're going to continue doing the farmers market through October. And also another initiative that was started utilizing our new state-of-the-art skate park is the scooter competition. Will be, I believe it's the 28th, correct, John? It's Saturday, September 28th. Saturday, September 28th at Veterans Park. You can register on the website if there's any children out there that want to participate. So it was a huge success last year, so we're happy. We have the world competition scooter champion, John Marco Gatos, is once again co-sponsoring it with it, and since he's as I said, he's a world champion. He gets a lot of prizes donated from the sponsors, so there's going to be a lot of prizes for the kids. It's just going to be great. So on behalf of Councilman Guadagno, thank everybody for supporting the farmers markets. They're doing good. And about the sports competition. I have a couple more, Council President Gross, but you know what, I'll take a break and let some of the members have some airtime as well.
All right, sounds good. Councilman Bacchione.
Thank you, Council President. On Wednesday, the 21st of August, the Finance Committee met. A couple of items I wanted to mention to the Council. We had our exit conference with the auditor, and everything came back clean. There were two concerns that have been addressed and fixed on our on the audit. Also, the ordinance tonight that's on 19-370-R, refunding the bonds. That's the 2010. The savings from that refund will be about $130,000, just north of $130,000. So that was a good deal. In our CFO's efforts, Fred Ebeno, we appreciate that. And the best practice inventory will be released after Labor Day by the local government service. And as Council may recall, this happens every year. Every year we've gotten a high score on this best practice, which keeps our state aid coming. So it's important that we get the high score. So we look forward to another successful report this year. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Sophie?
Nothing at this time. I spoke earlier, and that's all I had to say.
Mr. Burns?
This week, they had the fallen police officers motorcycle run, and it ended here at our police station in memory of Allison. But they started in Wall Township, went all the way down south to Chemung, and wherever there was a fallen police officer, they stopped and paid respects, and then they finished up at the VFW. If you're keeping up with what's happening to the police in this country, getting buckets of water, and I just want our police to know that that this council and administration has their back and their respect at all times, that this will never happen in our area. The parking over in South Seaside Park, I met with Leanne. She may have something to say that we're working out some pretty good solutions over there. And, we're sure not going to start it prior to Labor Day, but, it'll be looked at a little bit more, and there'll be additional parking. But, people are moving signs and back and forth, so we'll clean that up right after the summer. The Airbnbs, if you happen to have an Airbnb come into your neighborhood, we have the Animal House rule here, that if a place does get called within 3 times, I don't know what the time frame is, Chief, but if they do get called upon for noise or whatever violations, that they'll lose their rental privilege. It seems, being a waterfront community, every time we go to do something, the DEP steps in and just gives us another roadblock. Maybe Ernie will touch on this, but we have all the sand that we've dredged through the years over at off of Allen Road Beach, and we're buying sand to do our beach replenishments either in South Seaside Park on the Bayside or along the Bayside here. But we had to get it tested, and I think they want in excess of $10,000 to test the sand. And then after that, we need to go to the DEP about moving the sand. I didn't notice any of this when they were pumping all the sand onto the beaches. I didn't see anybody out there testing it. They were just dumping it and whatever. But, I just want you to know that this council and administration is, working on all this. But like I said, every time the DEP steps in, the state cut some funding to
Try it again, Jim.
to some of these. Still kind of echo. Somebody else on? The state's cut funding on the Asbury Park schools and some other the Abbott districts. So it just seems funny that Asbury Park shut down the Barack Obama school, and they're going to be using that for a maintenance supply building. And it does happen that the Commissioner of Education is the past superintendent of Asbury Park, so he knows where everything's buried up there, but they're getting to live like the rest of us now. The Bum Rogers, they're having a block party September 22nd, and it's to honor police, fire, and EMS. If you can get over there, it's a good event all day long. The demos in the town, if you've read in the paper where Tom's River has a zombie house ordinance, I've been talking to the attorney about maybe we could do an ordinance like that. There's a committee that goes around to these vacant homes that are just left, whether bank-owned or personally owned, that they'll be charged a fee, and they'll be fined until they remedy it. And I know the engineer has been out, and most of them have failing bulkheads, so they'll just lead that right into the demolition. Also, there's been some complaints about basketball nets on the roads. the ordinance says that the basketball net can overhang the right-of-way, but it cannot be on the right-of-way. And what that does, it prohibits the street sweeping and garbage removal and whatever. It seems to be a great summer. I see all the new business that have started in town. There was waiting lines to get in. They're all doing good. So we really need to build on what we've started here. But and last but least, the mayor probably comment on the beach dedications that we had this weekend. All right. So have a safe and great Labor Day. Thank you.
Judy?
Yes, thank you. I just had a couple more things. One, some people may find kind of crazy, but I want to say this straight out to the senior community. You don't live in Tom's River. Some of the new people, literally think they live in Tom's River. It's your post office box. You pay your taxes to Berkeley Township. And if you should order furniture, make sure you tell them you live in Berkeley, because they'll be looking for that street in Tom's River. I literally have gone to several places, and I ask them where they live, and they tell me they live in Tom's River. Literally. I go, what street do you live on? I said, you live in Berkeley Township. That post office box is really confusing, but I just want to make that statement. And one thing I did leave out, on this bill, I had gotten an email. The Assembly, we were thinking was going to come back in November, has come back now. They are here. So we're hoping this bill has to go to committee and be taken out, but they did come back for another vote. So this is why I just wanted to let you know, this is still a very serious thing, and time is of the essence. But also, I had some requests again on the issue, maybe some people have forgotten, houses that were sinking and a lot of problems, that we did we had a meeting with Halvany. Well, the DEP came and they had a meeting with Halvany, and they had a list of homes. But some of the people came back to me again and said no one got back to them. Halvany made a statement to the DEP that if they could show they had legitimate problems by an engineer. But there so happens a new man handling it in DEP. I just want to know, I gave all those addresses back to DEP. The town cannot do anything about it. Maybe we can put a little hand on the DEP, but Halvany pushes back, and is pushing back. I have about 8 more homes. And this is really sad because these people will not be able to sell their homes. So I wanted on record that the town cannot physically do anything. However, maybe we give a little assistance, but we have a new person with the DEP, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Busher.
Thank you. I've been reporting periodically on the progress that Aqua has been making with the water and the iron removal plants, and I'm pleased to share with you that just recently, this last week, 2 of the iron removal plants are online and operating, and Aqua is seeing great results, anywhere from 85 to 100% iron removal. So that's really good, positive information. In addition, there's a 3rd plant that's they're working on permitting that they hope to have online by the end of the year. So for those of you who have Aqua Water as your water company, I think this is encouraging. Over the last 2 years or so, we've had residents complain about, the iron, and it took them some time to respond, but I'm pleased to share with you that it looks like we're on the road to having that corrected. Another thing I wanted to mention, at previous meetings I've always talked about the legalization of recreational marijuana. Well, I had reported, I guess, a few months ago that they were going to put this on the 2020 ballot as a referendum for voters to decide whether or not we want recreational marijuana. But it looks like now the governor Assembly Speaker Coughlin and Senate President Sweeney want to make another run before the end of the year, and perhaps with a lame duck legislature try to push this through. So just wanted to make everybody aware that they don't want to wait till next year. Let the voters decide. They want to try to get it done themselves. So that's all I have at this point.
Thanks, Keith. So most stuff has been covered. I do want to remind you, September 27th, September 28th, and October 12th and 13th, we're having our very first food truck and fire pit events, so it should be a really good time. A lot of people have expressed interest via the internet and so forth. Make sure you do bring your own chairs. Let's see what else. Most of you, come to meetings, know I'm in law enforcement. I can retire in a few months. If you ask my wife, I'm not. If you ask me, I might, whatever. But it was really good to see the officers tonight. Ensures that our pension fund will still be solvent. And so they'll have a great career. They have to do 30. The chief and I had to do 25. I couldn't help but notice in the news today the officer in Connecticut was dragged. Something we would do when I was still in patrol. Every day you walk up to a car, sir, what are you doing here? And he takes off. And one of the police officers was knocked unconscious, dragged 100 feet. And unfortunately, it's not just Connecticut. This kind of thing happens all over the place. We ask for modicum of respect to do our job. I mean, it's not too much to ask to serve the public if you don't attack us and drag us. It's just, common sense. So a couple of quick things on A5107 with the smoking devices. As stands now, kids can possess vaping devices, but they're not allowed to purchase them, so that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So obviously I applaud the administration for recognizing this and addressing it. We, of course, are in favor of kids not being able to use these devices. The more that they're finding out, they are detrimental to their health. So I applaud the administration for locating that. And I did quickly want to ask either Judy or Sophie regarding A3851. So the way that S2425 went, I assume that the way that was received, the assembly probably is how do you think it's going to go at the assembly?
I don't know, because we really reached out, and that phone call today was very unique. That came from Assemblyman Coleman, and he's the one who introduced the bill. And he asked me to send over him some of our issues with the bill. I think, like I said before, I don't know. And the group that got back, everybody's called the phone calls. They were overwhelmed by all the emails, the phone calls, and now we have the petitions, which we give, and they take down. The governor has to pass it. I don't know, but they've been trying for a very long time to get into our associations. But this is the first time that I'm starting to get phone calls back. I have to call Senator Singleton, and we are getting a response. I don't think they like the phone calls they're getting. I can't answer that question, but I will tell you, according to all the associations in Ocean County and some in Monmouth, they want to get together. If they push about selling to underage, is going to be a problem. Not to live, to sell. There's going to be a big issue, but to come in and change the bylaws, you're going to see a major pushback, and when these people have to run for election, we're not going to forget. I gave the mayor a copy of all who voted, senators, Democrats. This is a big Democrat bill, though, I have to tell you. But they've been after us for a very long time, and I think the mayor remembers the Rice bill, and we beat it. But
we were fortunate that Christie was the governor, so it wasn't going to go.
Yeah, but I'm really giving a little, the fact that they asked me to send them what was bothering us in the bill, I think that's a good sign. I couldn't answer that question. I don't know, but thank you for asking.
Yeah, of course.
And I want to thank everybody for their support, because without it, and as I twisted the arm for the town, because actually the town has no legal, other than the age, to really do anything, because we're on our own. Mm-hmm. So it's very important that this Berkeley Township supports the senior community, and I want to stress that very much, and thank you for it.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, would you like to finish your comments?
Just finish up with, as Councilman Burns had mentioned, in fact, I want to recognize Fred Bakarian in the audience. Fred was our chairman on behalf of Berkeley Shores Homeowners Association, and also the township, who helped coordinate this weekend's dedication on Saturday.
We dedicated the Berkeley Township Waterways Advisory Commission had made a recommendation to the township, and the Township Council adopted by resolution about renaming the Amherst Beach after Clifford B. Wright. And it says, Clifford B. Wright served his country during World War II with the United States Navy. Shortly after his time in the Navy had ended, he met the woman who would become his beloved wife, Ethel, whereas he and Ethel were married for over 65 years and raised their beautiful family in Berkeley Township. Whereas after the tragic accident involving his nephew, David, in 1954, thanks to Clifford and others, the Bayville First Aid Squad was founded. For 58 years, Clifford B. Wright and Ethel volunteered and dedicated their lives to service their fellow residents as members of the First Aid Squad. And whereas Clifford B. Wright also served as community as a member of the Bayville Fire Department, the Veterans of Foreign Wars 9503, and served as a member of the Berkeley Township Board of Education. After a courageous battle with cancer, he passed away in June of 2014. And whereas Clifford B. Wright's exemplary dedication and compassion and his tireless commitment to help others in need to serve his community, the Township Council, on behalf and along with the mayor, dedicate the Township Beach at Amherst as the Clifford B. Wright Memorial Beach at Amherst as a small token of our grateful appreciation for his years of dedicated service. It was a great turnout from area residents. The Wright family, Ethel was there. The Wright family was there. They had their grandkids there. It was just a wonderful thing that we were able to do to recognize Clifford. And, he rode on, he was on those rigs, him and Ethel, every day until he got really sick. You see him every day. In fact, I've had the fortune, I've had the luck, they picked me up a few times over the years, being a lifelong resident of Berkeley Township that I am. And then, piggybacking on with that, we dedicated the Master Peter property on behalf of the Master Peter family. Then we named it Master Peter Park. And then, as I mentioned on Saturday, there was a teacher at the H&M Potter School, Kimberly Mason, who tragically passed away in a car accident in 2006. And a group of residents, teachers, got together and raised about $30,000 and put some equipment actually on the Amherst Beach. Sadly, during Superstorm Sandy, that equipment was damaged beyond control, and it was the desire of the mayor and council to replace that equipment. And with the purchase of the Master Peter property, we were able to not only replace that equipment, we were able to put a really nice area playground for Berkeley Shores. So the Mason family, and on behalf of Kimberly, actually, she passed away in 2004, leaving a tremendous void in the lives of her family and friends. And the playground was erected in her name, and there's still a stone plaque installed at the opening of the park. So we were able to dedicate the playground equipment in Kimberly's name. So it's Angel Playground on behalf of Kimberly Mason. And thanks to, once again, to the Berkeley Shores Homeowners and Civic Association, they donated a flagpole that they put at Master Peter Park, and our own Vietnam veteran, Bronze Star, Purple Heart Councilman Jim Burns led in the dedication. So it was just a great ceremony. I want to thank Fred and members of Berkeley Shores Homeowners Association for spearheading that. And it was just a great day for the Wright family, a great day for the Master Peter family, the Mason family as well. She may be gone, but she's not forgotten. And of course, all of our veterans who we dedicated the flagpole. So I don't know, Jim, you want to touch any more on that? I know I'm going to ask Fred to come. I know Fred's going to have some comments with regards to that. Okay.
Just, on behalf of the town, thanks for all of that.
Fred, you want to come on up and address that now? Yeah. I think it'd be appropriate since we're on topic.
We're carrying 91 yard. You stole half of my thunder, but
That's okay.
Just give me my impressions of the day. Years of preparation and planning. What do I do here?
On the base.
Years of preparation and planning of the Amherst Beach complex came to a culmination on Saturday in a dedication ceremony that we can all be proud of. Formally recognized as Amherst Beach, the renaming.
I think they can hear you in the back.
What's the matter?
We can hear you.
You okay?
Closer to your mouth.
Go ahead, Chief.
Is that better?
That's better.
Formally recognizes Amherst Beast, the remaining dedication afforded our local officials the opportunity to recognize outstanding contributions made by residents and past residents of our township. It was a privilege for Berkeley Shores Homeowners Civic Association to join our mayor and township officials in the dedication of this beautiful facility. And it was indeed a special day, not only for the dedication, but for residents to come together and celebrate the event. Much appreciation for all who participated, and a special thank you to our Parks Department for their attention to the grounds, and to our Fire Department for the display of a very large American flag, and it was considerable wind, so it looked very beautiful. They had it on their extended ladder, and it just blew over everyone. The Clifford B. Wright Beach at Amherst, the Master Peter Park, and the Angel Playground in memory of Kimberly Mason are all welcome additions to our Berkeley waterfront. It is a beautiful facility that all can be proud of, and it's well worth a visit. The bay views are outstanding, and it is a joy to watch small children playing on the swings and the ship with their grandparents. I introduced my granddaughter to the sand and the water before she could walk at the new Clifford Wright Beach. And our association was honored to sponsor the flagpole and plaque in memory of our fallen heroes and to be able to participate in the dedication ceremony. President John Sirakinis and First Ward Councilman James Byrne, Vietnam vet, Purple Heart and Bronze recipient, did the dedicating honors. As the flag was raised, the national anthem was played, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And with hands on hearts, our program and the dedication ceremony ended with God Bless America, and thanks to all of you for a wonderful day. And that is a beautiful facility, and there's something for everybody. You can lay on the beach, you can walk through the passive recreation area, or you can bring your children, the small children, to play on the gym. Or you can just sit, look the bay, and watch the boats come in and out. It is a beautiful facility, and we are very proud of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do there, Fred. It was a very nice day.
I'm good, Tom.
Are you good? I would, a little plug, apropos of the first aid stuff, my daughter's there tonight joining the first aid squad, so but I had to put that in there.
That's great.
All right, moving on. Looks like we have a couple motions we'll have here. So, Township Engineer, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I'll try to be brief. A is a recommendation for a street vacation, a portion of Cumberland Avenue. Our office has a report dated August 14th of this year and recommends the approval of the street vacation subject to the review of the local water company. It should also note that it should be reviewed by both the water and the local sewer company.
All right, motion. Is that it, sir, on that? Okay, motion. Okay. And roll call on that, please.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Burns?
Yes.
Or Gross?
That was a while ago. Yes, and on to B, Ernie.
B is a recommendation for a street vacation, a portion of Amsterdam Avenue. Again, our office has a report dated August 14th, 2019, and recommends it to the council.
All right, motion on that, please. And a second? Second. Roll call.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Buccio?
Yes.
Council President Gross?
Yes.
C1 is the recommendation of award for a contract for the 2019 NJDOT Municipal Aid Project, which is Jamaica Boulevard Phase 3 Reconstruction. I would note for the council and the public that this is funded by almost $300,000 from the state, so approximately 90% of the project is being paid for through a DOT grant for this application. 350?
365.
Thank you. And that'll be on the official agenda as item 14.37. C2 is the recommendation of award for the Jamaica Boulevard Emergency Culvert Reconstruction Project, which is on the official agenda as item 14.38. C3 is the recommendation of award for a contract for the Paradise Boulevard Mill and Overlay Project, which is on the official agenda as item 14.39. C4 is a recommendation for award of a contract for the 2019 various bulkhead improvement project, which is on the official agenda as item 14.40. And C5 is awarding a contract for the cooling tower project, which is on the official agenda as item 14.46. 6D is authorizing the township engineer to prepare and advertise for the receipt of bids for a fire escape at the Public Works Department, which is on the official agenda as item 14.29. 6F is authorizing the release of a maintenance guarantee for Hovchild Partnership, which is the Rite Aid project, which is on the official agenda as item 1431. 6G is the recommendation to authorize the release of the maintenance guarantee for the rear portion of the Plaza Drive improvements for Hovchild Partnership, which is on the official agenda as item 14.32. And lastly, under 6H is a recommendation to reject the bids and to authorize for rebidding for the 2019 Berkeley Road Improvement Project. The project had a number of streets. The bids exceeded the original estimate. In looking through it, we think it may have had something to do with doing a number of short roads or cul-de-sacs, and as you know, anytime we repave a road, we have to fix the handicap ramps. So we spend a lot of money doing concrete work, doing curb and handicap ramps. So we're going to look at the scope of the project and get that rebid so that we can take care of these roads that were listed for 2019.
Excuse me, through the chair, do you have the list of those roads?
Not handy, no, but I can get that to you in the morning.
I don't know if Alan put that on, Edgewood Drive.
Edgewood?
Edgebrook.
Oh, okay. I'll check into it.
South, more north, is really pathetic. I don't know who's gonna look at them or not. Every 10 feet they're falling apart, the grass is up in the mountain.
That's all I have, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, sir. Meeting's now open for public comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Township Clerk, my bad.
Okay.
Skip 7 completely.
Yes. 7A is to extend the license premises for a one-day event to Bum Rogers, which Councilman Burns just spoke about. They're having an event there. They've already gotten the police department approval to shut down a portion of 23rd Avenue. They got signed approval from all the residents, and that's on the official item 14.34. 7B is a place-to-place expansion of premises for the Berkeley Food and Liquors trading as Ebby's, which also goes with 7C. Ebby's, we're approving an outdoor cafe to them, and they would like to be able to serve alcohol, so we have to go through the expansion of premises for them to do that out there as well as food.
Through the chair.
Sir.
On this Sidewalk Cafe, as it's been brought to the council before, the portion of Ebby's that's on Route 35, they don't seem to be adherent to the 4-foot at least rule coming through there. And the other side street, they just have 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag, but there's really not that much traffic on the side road. But the Route 35, they really need to adhere to the at least a 4-foot walkway on that main street. And I think the administrator at one time, we did talk about putting a some type of a line or whatever on the sidewalk, so it's always left open. But me, I'm very pro-business, but when they're getting out onto 35 there to an unsafe condition, I think we need to look at it a little bit better. Thank you.
And those are both on the official 14.35 and 14.36.
Just through the chair and Karen, that I know the ABC has to look into that as well. They signed off.
That's the place-to-place transfer.
And they signed off.
Well,
We approve it, and then it goes to
We
them.
do it and sends it to them.
we do it, we send it to the state. The only thing they're waiting for is the resolution. They have no concerns as long as our police department doesn't.
Through the chair, how long does that usually take
What?
when they transfer the license and the approval from the state?
It'll be effective tonight. We just send them the resolution.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Meeting's open for public comments. Keep them to 5 minutes, please, in fairness to everyone else that wishes to speak. When you come up, clearly state your name and address for the record. And we'll start with Leanne. I know how to read, thanks. Leanne Zappa. Zappi. My apologies.
Hi.
Nice.
Good evening.
Chairwoman.
Thank you. Mr. Gross, I'll just ask you,
Name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Leanne Zappi, 241 23rd Avenue, South Seaside Park.
Gotcha.
I'll just ask you, in reference to my meeting last time, I've been appointed a position by the mayor, and I have been working really hard with this voluntary position that I have. And I just ask that you give me the time. I'm not asking for a half hour, an hour, but not to cut me off like you did the last time. You gave me 5 minutes, then I waited for all the people to speak, and I got up again, patiently and understanding, and you only gave me another 5 minutes. And I feel that why would I volunteer my time over there and speak to the residents if I could not come forward and give you the comments that I'm getting and the things that need to be addressed? So I promise not to take up your whole night, but at least give me the allotted time that, for the amount of time that I put into it. It takes me 45 minutes to get here, 45 minutes to get home, plus tolls. So,
Point taken.
thank you. I always like to start off my meetings with thanking and our wonderful police department. We have the greatest police. I've said this at every meeting, and I'll continue to say that. A good department is always the direct result from great leadership. I'd like to thank the council people who have put in their time, Jim Burns, Judy Noonan, and also Keith Bouchel. Thank you. Thank you for coming over and spending time over in Berkeley Township and looking at some of the issues that we have there. I encourage you, Mr. Gross and Mr. Bascione, please, your councilman at large, please come over to South Seaside Park and spend some time like the others have and see what we're talking about here so we can get a better scope of what's going on there. But I also would like to thank you, before I forget, we had our first block party on 21st Avenue, and the township had donated a platform, and it was a great success. There was over 200 people. Everybody was happy, and I can't thank you enough for that. First of all, I'd like to know about the status of the benches on the Bay Area. What are we going to do about that?
They haven't come in yet.
But I mean, are we going to move forward with this? Because a lot of people were very discouraged over the fact that there were so much arguments that went on, and the Bay Area does need tremendous attention.
Through the chair, if I could comment on that. There was a lot of comments from people that live, and I think we addressed this at the last meeting, that live across the street from the bay, who think they more or less own the bay. But we need to put the benches out for the public, and the same with the snow fence that was taken down. I did talk to Jim Sperber. They're going to get 3-foot high fence instead of the 4-foot, but they got to remember the bayfront is for everybody. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jim. I can't thank you enough for that. I have lost friendships with people over me trying to improve the area of the bay just for the enjoyment of the township, not for just the people that live there. It's for everyone. I had sent a message over yesterday. There's a community online, I think it's called Nextdoor or something like that, for South Seaside Park, and somebody had posted a picture of the bay, and it was really embarrassing because they said that nobody is paying attention to it, and it's on the Red Top Marina. It's to the right side, where it's a big accumulation of seaweed that has gotten all slimy and it smells. So nobody is claiming to own that area, but in the meantime, they're calling it practically a cesspool and saying that it's, South Seaside Park is being ignored. We're working hard to get attention to improve the area, and when things like that go online, it's so embarrassing. So I want to know, what can we do about that? Because I know that the Red Top does have riparian there. What can we...
It's their property, and code enforcement was out there to issue issue a notice that they have to clean it up.
Okay, because they're saying that it's the states. And it's the states when they want it to be, and it's theirs when they want it to be, but we really have to be, have some order there. I know that there's a block party, a beach party tomorrow, and that's great. I'm just hoping that next time, I know they've been rescheduled, it's so annoying, but maybe, if we know a couple of days in advance that it's going to be going on because it says we're going to have wonderful weather on Tuesday, let me know or send me a flyer and I'll put them up at the lifeguard stands, because I myself who live there and go to the beach, I didn't even know it was tomorrow. I didn't know. Yeah. So maybe we could do a little bit more advertising with that. Okay, so the benches are taken care of. The parking on the beach block, Jim knows. We've been there. You've heard the conversations between the residents. I am a resident. The only thing that I could say about that is that a town without rules is a town of chaos, and you have arguments with people, and we don't want this. We just all want to get along. We live in a beach town. People want to go to the beach. They want to enjoy the area, but nobody knows what the rules are. I'm not here to say I'm on this side, I'm on that side. I want to do what's right, and what's right for everyone, not what is just right for one house or two houses, what's right for the whole community.
Sorry, Leanne, through the chair again.
What's that?
They did bring the Google Earth that we had asked for, the expanded one, that you and I can take a walk around, and, we did talk about a handicap spot there, and eventually lining all the streets, so,
yes, I know that. Right. That is wonderful.
Thank you.
But as far as that particular situation, there was something in the newspaper that struck me as very insulting about people. There's plenty of places for people to park. They just don't want to. They don't want to park there because they don't want to walk. Well, in my particular situation, I had a sister that had ALS, and I also have another family member that's 83 years old who lives to go to the beach on Sundays. That's her whole life. It's not that she doesn't want to walk. She can't walk. So, yes, there are some people that, okay, whatever. But there's a lot of people that, why should they be denied a place to park on a beach block? It should be for the whole community, and it should be for the residents only. I really hope that the township would get in touch with the people at the state park to keep a better handle on getting the overflow from parking on our block, because that caused another debacle where there was arguments and people picnicking and partying on the beach block, no badge in the window or anything. And it shouldn't be up for the residents of the township to fight for these causes. Maybe we can just talk to the state police, or that if they want to, tell the people to make a turnaround, make sure you don't go on these streets here. I know that I've been in touch with, just to let you all know, I've been in touch with Governor Murphy's office and back and forth, and I keep in touch with them quite often about acquiring the marina for 24th Avenue for Berkeley to be able to run it, because we'll do a much better job than they are. And I also just want to end by saying that I really just hope and pray that one day that we can give them something to admire us about, not to talk about us about, but to admire us about, that that's a great beach community. We're getting there, and I can't thank Jim and Judy. There's not enough thank yous to give her, because whenever somebody's not there, she jumps right in, whether it's her or whatever. She gets you in touch with the right person. John Cameron's been a great help, and Mayor Amato, I can't thank you for your time over there. So let's keep it going, all right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, also, if I could add while you call the next person, we are changing some signage, and there was a little ramp next to the gazebo for like jet skis, small boats, or whatever. So that signage will be changed, and I think the mayor is going to put a table or some chairs within that gazebo.
Great.
All right, so that's some added stuff that the residents are looking for. Thank you.
Fred, you wish to speak again, or was that your thunder before? Fred Bakarian, you're number 2.
No, I'm good.
You're good? All right. Josh Eckersley, I see you back there.
Okay, let's adjust this a little bit. Good evening, Council. My name is Josh Eckersley. I live at 438 Hayden Street in Bayville. I would like to address this Council's decision from the last Council meeting to support the Ocean County Freeholders' decision to file a lawsuit challenging Attorney General Gruel's Immigrant Trust Directive from the last Council meeting on July 22nd, 2019. First, as a proud public school teacher right down the road at Central Regional, I wish to perhaps allow for another perspective that this body may not have considered initially. In doing so, I hope that I do my due diligence in informing the council and the public to see this particular issue in the way that I do and understand the concern that this lawsuit brings with it. Being a teacher, I have had the pleasure to work with Berkeley Township's fine police officers. They've been mentioned several times during this meeting, firsthand. I'll agree with everyone else in saying that Berkeley Township police are amazing. They are absolutely incredible resources for our community. As a teacher who goes back to school in 9 days, by the way, I have the days now, I feel obligated to remind you of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. The second to bottom of the pyramid, indicating one of humanity's basic needs, is that of safety. The hard work of all of our incredible police officers, to the credit of Chief DeMichael and her wonderful staff, helps us with that feeling of safety, and I think we can all agree on that. It was argued at the last town council meeting that the Attorney General's directive complicates their jobs and handicaps police from protecting our citizens. I counter this by stating that not following the Attorney General's directive actually handicaps our police, and I'll explain. This is about strengthening the trust between law enforcement and our state's immigrant communities. Remember that I'm speaking from the vantage point of a teacher with many Hispanic students from Hispanic families. Nearly 1 in 5 of Central Regional's 2,100 students are Hispanic and have Hispanic families. I'm broken to tears when I hear of child after child crying for their parents forcibly ripped apart from their loved ones based on immigration status. I'm fearful of my own students, so I have a personal investment in this, who might have family issues with domestic abuse, alcoholism, drugs, violence, etc., yet are apprehensive to report it due to fear of ICE involvement. Instilling fear in any group only makes police jobs more difficult. And for those who feel the Attorney General's directive is stripping power away from that of our law enforcement has, it implicitly states, and this is a direct quote from the Attorney General's website on the issue, that, quote, nothing in the directive limits New Jersey law enforcement agencies from enforcing state law, and nothing in the directive should be read to imply that New Jersey provides sanctuary to those who commit crimes in this state. Moreover, nothing restricts police from complying with federal law or valid court orders, including judicially issued arrests, warrants for individuals regardless of immigration status, end quote. It is effectively stating that our police officers have plenty to do for our community and are not immigration enforcement officers. Moreover, it does not matter what political affiliation, gender, race, religion, or creed anyone is, the fact remains that it is deplorable to tear families apart in any circumstance. Doing so has a lasting effect on the children that I teach, and the children that the wonderful teachers in our community are charged in teaching. And it is morally reprehensible for an elected body who is charged to protect the constituents to take action based on a contrary opinion. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Through the chair, if I may respond to that. Just to let you know that, we support our law enforcement and we support ICE. ICE was there to do a job, to get the illegal immigrants and to get the illegal traffickers. So I thank you for what you do at the school and you teach them, and this council, we love everybody. But remember, the legal taxpayers pay your salary. Thank you.
Wayne, we have a rebuttal.
I'm sorry, Councilman Burns, with all due respect, I pay my own salary as well. I am a taxpayer. And I thank you for your, yes, sir. I thank you for your opinion on that. However, it does have a long-lasting effect on the children that I see directly day to day. And I thank you for your input on that, but please keep that in the back of your mind.
No worries, sir.
Thank you.
Wayne Williams.
Sorry, Tom.
No, it's all good. Name and address, sir, please, for the record.
Hi, my name is Wayne Williams. I live at 320 Van Dyke Place. This is my neighbor.
Rusty Borders, we're here on the same agenda.
All right, just a little, we're having a problem hearing, guys, if it's a little closer. Is it on?
Is it? Yeah, blue light's on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can, I don't know. As long as.
I'll talk louder.
You want to give the gentleman's information?
So why we're here is we live on Van Dyke Place, and this is a street that half of it has been paved and the other half is not paved.
For how long, sir, has it been like that?
It's been like that for about 10. I've lived there for 10 years, and it's been dirt on one side and paved on the bottom end of the street. Van Dyke Place. This is where it's located. This is Central Regional right here, and this is Grand Central. You have Vanderbilt, which is paved. All the areas around here is paved except about 300 feet of this roadway. The other 200 feet here is paved with drainage here, and when it rains, I've had to watch my neighbor fish his garbage can out of the
Middle of the street,
yeah,
it'll float away.
because it float away. It just floods every time it rains. There's dirt on the road. There's potholes on the road.
Did
The
you bring
gravel.
pictures, sir, by chance? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Excuse
Did you
me?
bring photographs by chance?
You know, I took photos and I wanted to print it out, but it's on my phone. I can, just
Email
pass my, yeah.
Email me.
I could do that.
To
Okay.
Mr. Camera or?
Who would I email
I think
it to?
Ernie might be
Ernie?
familiar with it
Brian
already, but.
Continue, sir, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yes. So what happens is, when it rains, all the dirt and gravel washes from the top of the street on Vanderbilt down to the bottom of the street. And when it washes down, like I said, all our properties are underwater. And then the street cleaner doesn't come down the street because you have a dirt road, then you have paved. There's no drainage at the top on Vanderbilt to collect the water, so all the water end up.
So where's the drainage stop, where the pavement stops?
Yes.
The drainage starts where the pavement starts. And there's two drains on each side of the road between the section that is paved, but it can't contain all the water that rushes down from the top of the road all the way down. It just, there's not enough there.
This is what it looks like. So this is Leicester right here. You have two drainage here, and then none is here. So, and then you have two drainage here at the bottom where the turnaround is. So when the water starts to flow, it flows to here and it comes down the street. Nothing to collect the water here. And once it turned down this street, which is dirt and gravel, everything ends up down here.
Can I have that?
Let Mr. Peters address you, sir, I think he has something to say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. We'll have someone out there tomorrow. I'll have a report to Mr. Camera by the end of the week. We have two programs that we have on a yearly basis that are funded by the council. One is the road paving project, the other is the gravel roads project. Occasionally, as you know, what happens in that section of town is developers come in, they pave what they need to do to develop that portion of the project, or they only do half the street. And so normally we wait until another developer does it, because otherwise we're improving someone else's property without getting reimbursed by the people whose property we're doing the frontage improvements on. That being said, I'm happy to take this, I'll make a copy of it and get it back to you fine gentlemen. And then I'll get a report to Mr. Camera by the end of the week indicating what our assessment of it is and what the estimated cost to do A, B, or C would be.
Does that sound good, gentlemen?
Mr. Camera can share that with the public as necessary.
Yes.
Mr. President, through the chair again.
One moment, Jim. We have
Go
your
ahead.
phone numbers. We can contact you guys.
I gave my business card to both of the gentlemen, so when I get information from them, I'll get it over to Mr. Camera as well.
Yeah, if you can email those right to Ernie, that would be great.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know the problem firsthand because my granddaughter lives across the street from you with Barris.
Oh, yes.
All right, so what happened when these gentlemen built, they improved the cul-de-sac, and then when they built on that other street that comes in, they improved.
Vanderbilt?
Yeah, and then the two older houses were never paved in between, which probably should have been paved when you did put the cul-de-sac in, but it's an oversight. You're back in the corner there, but I'm sure Ernie will address it.
And that's the reason we have the gravel roads program in town, is so that we can sort of take care of the missing checkerboard links
Yes, exactly.
in the puzzle as development occurs in that neck of the woods.
All right. Anything else?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Janice Conti? Name and address for the record, please, Ms. Conti.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I am Janice Conti from 3 Barbados Drive South, Berkeley Township. And Judy, I am so glad you said something about people who think they live in Toms River. I thought so when I first moved here.
Well, that's your
I
house,
went to
right?
the Toms River Council
Yeah.
meeting and was going to get up and cause a commotion when someone tapped me and they said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "You're not from Toms River." I said, "Yes, I am." I showed them my license, and they said, "No." Again, it is true. Again, if you come up from up north and come down here, you think that what says on your address is where you live. But I never saw the deeds. It was my husband who purchased the home. But I am one of those people that did not know what was going on as it related to this bill S2425 until one of my neighbors came to see me one day and showed me this article from the coalition. And I really want to applaud Councilwoman Judy Noonan, who has been consistently working on our behalf to make sure that this doesn't happen. But I know she said that there is some positive movement, it seems, but I would like to implore the homeowners that still make up the 9 communities to please keep calling and letting the individuals in the Assembly and the Governor's office know how strenuously we oppose this bill. This bill has no business even being brought up as it relates to our communities. Again, what bothers me is that it seems like the whole state is not aware of what is going on because of the amount of senators who voted yes for it. It tells me that they don't even understand, as Ms. Gingrich said, what actually is stated in the bill. The language seems vague enough that it'll give Trenton the ability to come in and basically govern our planned communities throughout the state. It's not just Ocean County and it's not just Holiday City. So again, I thank you, and I just wanted to bring up that, again, the homeowners should continuously keep calling Trenton. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ma'am. Thank you very much. And lastly on the list, Marguerite Penn. All right.
Good evening. My name is Marguerite Penn, 9 Barbados Drive South, Berkeley. Well, she took my notes, and I might as well throw it away. But I would like to emphasize this is a statewide issue. It originated in Berkeley because of the coalition community news. Our local residents read it and spread the word around to the other residents, and we had petitions, etc. And we got good, well, I don't know about good, but we got responses from Ocean County Assembly people and Monmouth also. My feeling is that land is very limited. And also, we have a great population. And I hear a lot of federal officials mention that when they're interviewed, one of the top topics is affordable housing. And that just makes me want to put the dots together and say, look, there's not much land and there's a lot of people. Now, this did not happen overnight. But this is where we are, and I don't feel that this mess should be cleaned up and put elsewhere, other than get it cleaned up first. Our community was made before, I believe, before this mess, let's call it, and I believe that we should be safeguarded along with all the condos, co-ops, and all other interest communities throughout the state. And right now, I think I would like to ask on behalf of our residents if the Berkeley officials could help us to access all of the other communities that have not read it in any of the papers as yet. Maybe we can for that help.
Of course.
communication-wise or transportation-wise, because this is a really large project, and it needs many people to help.
No, Marguerite, you mentioned petitions, as did Councilwoman Noonan before. Either one of you can answer this, and for the people watching, if someone is interested in signing a petition, who do they call, or?
Okay, they're at the clubhouses. Most all the clubhouses now have them. But I do want to ask the mayor, he mentioned possibly if we go to testify, that you might come up with a bus. Is that a possibility? Because like I said, Marguerite, I want to again thank you for you've been very due diligent. If we go to testify, the mayor said maybe possibly we'll have a bus, and that might help too. But like I said, I don't know if you heard me before, the Assembly Conroy is listening, because now they're asking for what do we want in that bill? You know, what we object to.
My opinion is to erase the bill, because let them start over again. That's just my opinion, but I know we're here where we're at, but I would like to ask that other communities be informed from our community officials, and perhaps all of the communities can get together and be informed.
I don't know if you realize, this is going out on all Comcast television right now.
Thank you.
And also so they'll hear you. And also, it's going to be online. These meetings will be online. But people told me they were going to be listening tonight to address that bill. And I know Councilwoman Gingrich is spreading the word, has gone to clubhouses herself, correct, Sophia?
Yes, that is correct.
And
Plus
Go ahead,
we've
I'm sorry.
addressed it through the news media, and I've done it through some TV. So we are trying to get the word out to the entire state, not just our community.
Yes, I would like us to be almost like an anchor, so that we know that they are with us and that we are united. Not just that they are informed, but that all of the counties and the communities are united at one time.
I think that I addressed that most of the associations that I contacted with, including New Jersey Channel 12, most of the associations that responded to me, I'm talking like the Lake Harbor, that's what I said in the beginning, they want to create a very strong coalition of all who want to engage in Ocean County. I cannot speak for Monmouth, to show our strength, that if we have to fight something literally in court against the state, or do a class action against the Board of Freeholders. So there is a very strong consent that they want to do exactly what you're saying. They want to go on record, they want to join.
Well, I would be very satisfied to see that happen almost immediately, because time is where it's at. Thank you.
Thank you, Marguerite. Okay, so we have exhausted the list. Would anyone else like to speak? Mr. Whiteman, name and address, please.
Don Whiteman, 2000 Barnegat Avenue, South Seaside Park. I got to take notice. There's two items, but the first one is Ebby's. All right, now, I'm looking at Ebby's and I'm thinking, okay, are you aware, Council, that they have a structure that is a permanent structure that is 3 feet over into township property?
You want me to address it?
Sounds like an engineering question. Okay.
Yeah, right. It's none of the structures that were put out there are permanent, but yes, the big gazebo or the bar that they built, any of that stuff, that's the whole purpose of the Sidewalk Cafe permit. It allows anybody who applies, if it's approved, to put structures, whether tables or chairs, a gazebo or whatever they want, up for the season while the permit is in place. But it's not to be permanently.
Right. The reason why I'm concerned about that, residents from South Seaside Park, they apply for setbacks and they're turned down.
Yep.
Yet, did they apply for the setback?
Yeah, not a setback as a variance to the...
Well, that's what it is,
No,
isn't it?
because it's going to be removed after the season, and it's not different than a lot of downtown areas that allow their businesses to encroach out onto the right-of-way. I'm sure you've been in other places where they have a whole row of businesses with like tables and chairs. Sometimes they put metal guardrails, whatever the system would be. And this is the first year this council tried anything like that. Ebby's was the only application I think the clerk's office got. I know I heard from some business owners over there that others might apply next year. So they were trying it out, but nothing was permitted there permanently. It's a whole different process. And you're right, a resident can't apply for it, but it is a process, a sidewalk cafe permit that they thought would be worth trying to see if it can help promote some business over there.
I mean, it's screwed into the cement, is what I'm saying. Is that going to be taken down?
Not to be cynical, but those screws come right out the other way. So,
all right.
Yeah,
that's the first thing with the item. Second thing with the item is I don't want to see what happened at Bums happen here at Ebby's. Number one, there's a bar outside. Now, have you put any restrictions on any type of music being played outside, any type of bands being outside?
Yep, off the top of my head, there's time restrictions and no live music. Does that sound what everybody remember? There was an application that was put in quite a while ago, so I don't remember all the details, but yes, that was heavily considered, and I believe it might have to end by 10, and that you cannot have live bands out there.
Now, did we have our safety control officer from Berkeley Township go in looking at an increase in patrons using the bar and where the parking is, because we have no parking there either?
You're talking about the occupancy level?
Well, I'm just talking about if you expand in the situation of a bar, which is being done here, they're expanding the bar, there has been nothing said about the extra seating and parking that's going to be needed for this situation. There should have been some type of study done for that. And the reason why I say that is when Ebby's, which is across the street, when they tried to put a bar in there, they couldn't do it until there was a study done by the safety officers, had to come in, and they had to say, well, okay, there's going to be a bar here. It's going to affect this part of the town, as well as it's going to have an effect upon parking, which, as you know, we have a huge parking problem in South Seaside Park.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yeah.
Mr. Whiteman, I think what you're comparing a site plan application as opposed to Ebby's having an existing business. They came in front of the council. They received a permit under the Sidewalk Cafe, and the number of seats that are within the restaurant, and actually some of the seating was originally permitted in their site plan application that they got. Subsequent to that, the additional seating that may be associated with the Sidewalk Cafe is ancillary to the overall site. So it doesn't need additional site plan approval, and it does not need additional parking. And as you know, much of the parking that occurs out in the South Seaside Park area is public parking. There is public parking in along Route 35 that's available to patrons, and quite honestly, most of the patrons that visit the establishments out there are there for the weekend. So they're not typically driving in, they're actually there already for their time in South Seaside Park. So I appreciate your concerns.
I am concerned.
You're comparing apples to oranges when you say, should there be additional parking? It's just not apropos to the application.
I'm on Barnegat Avenue, and we get loaded with Ebby's parking in front of our house. Okay? The whole Barnegat Avenue is packed because of the restaurants. Now, you are enlarging a restaurant. You have not done a study. You have not asked the residents how it's going to affect them, yet we're given a preliminary approval or an approval for this, and I'm just questioning, is it the correct thing to do? And I understand what you're saying, but we are inundated with cars.
Through the chair, if I could just add 2 points. One, or add a point and answer a question. One, can't stress enough that the major difference here is that this is a one-season, first time we ever did it, Sidewalk Cafe permit. I don't want to be pessimistic about it. Might turn out that it goes really well and other people apply and it expands and you get more business over there and the parking is something that it has to be dealt with. Or it might be that the council sees that it was too much and they don't, but there's no approval, if they approve this tonight, to do anything past the end of the calendar year, I think. I forget.
Another month.
Yeah, this was a one season.
Okay, when you talk about season, how long is the season?
That's what I said. That's what I said through the end of the year. You know, realistically, business is going to fall off for everybody after Labor Day. This particular one, again, I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. On the one part, I think I was right because the clerk handed me their liquor license expansion application, and that does have the 2 caveats in the request to expand the liquor license area out there. It is that the outside area shall be closed at 10 p.m. for all restaurant and bar service, and there shall not be any outside entertainment or music. So as you asked, that was considered and dealt with. As far as the season, again, off the top of my head, the Sidewalk Cafe permits, I think went till late October, maybe?
Just with the idea of expanding the liquor license permit, which tells you more people are going to be there, there should have been some type of traffic safety check for the residents, to be honest with you, and I don't think that is done.
I hear what you're saying. I think that's another consideration that could have been taken in, for
Okay,
sure.
I have a second item, but I'll yield the floor to someone else, and I'll come back.
Before you do, does
Sure.
anyone else wish to speak, or can Mr. Whitman stay here? Okay, we have more people, so
Sure.
come back up there, Tom.
Thank you.
Keeping track of your own time, that was considerate.
Well, you know, I don't want to...
And we like the socks, too. All right, name and address, please.
Good evening, Laura Shaw, 407 Bay Boulevard, Bayville. I'm going to be very brief because I know more people want to speak, and I'm going to be very economical. I'm going to talk about item number 27 and 28 on the agenda. Resolution 19-398R, approving the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse fiscal grant. I was just curious about what was the amount of the grant that we received from the state?
That one I have handy if you want me to, for you guys have it? Sorry.
Isn't that on the,
It's well, we have it right here. It's at 5,500.
That's how much? The grant for the Municipal Alliance.
Yeah, that's what I said. I have it in front of me. You guys have it.
John, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry, then, through the chair, they're allowing me, I have it handy. The grant is $31,388.
So it's $31,388.
Correct.
And then my understanding is that the township will match that amount?
Matches it, but the nice thing about this grant, some grants you have to actually match with money. This one has a mandatory cash match of $7,847. But then there's also, to make up so that it is 50-50, we're allowed to do an in-kind portion of grant for $23,541.
And where will that money come from?
Regular budget, I mean, unless Fred can...
What it is, like a dare officer, okay, so 75%. We already covered, we actually spent more money than the 75%. It's 25 and 20, 25, 75, 25 is the cash match.
So we're talking about a budget, a departmental budget of about $60,000, 62, 63,000, no? No?
We're talking about $38,000.
38,000, all right, the 31,000 and the
It's in
7.
cash, and like I said, you're not hiring additional people for the in-kind portion.
Right, so that 23,000 is the DARE officer, basically, is that what?
Or other in-kind services that the police provide or other departments provide.
Gotcha,
It's
gotcha.
already in the budget, so it's not an additional expense.
Just if somebody could give me a Cliff Notes version of how those funds are going to be spent?
Again, limited familiarity with it, but there's a strategic plan that was, I think, only comes up every 5 years, is it, Fred? Every 5 years. So through at least 2020, we're locked into the basics of a strategic plan. And I mean, the broad thing of the Municipal Alliance is to help awareness about drugs and alcohol. But the actual items in the plan are broken down, my recollection, to things like having awareness programs at already existing events. You know what I mean? So if there's a picnic somewhere or something going on, they can go and have space there. There's also specific, I think, get-togethers where they have somebody come in, they have some of the money gets spent on consulting fees for people to come and speak to a group, those kind of things. But the nice thing is, we are locked into the broad scope, but we did have a meeting with some of the county reps that handle it, and they said, that they would work with us. We have a new person doing it, that the flexibility will be there to help work within the strategic plan and to try and make a new strategic plan for after 2020.
Okay, when you say you have a new person doing it, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. There's
Coordinator or something?
Coordinator is
Okay.
the position.
And that person's being paid a salary, correct?
No, because there was a salary given to the previous coordinator, and you can pay a salary, and as Fred and I found out, you can work that into, again, the existing strategic plan in a number of ways. When we had somebody new appointed as the new coordinator, there was not enough activity that we felt it was worthwhile to have anything part of a salary. So the only reimbursement we've asked for is for actual expenditures that were done.
Okay. All right.
But I don't want to mislead you. There could very well be a salary for the coordinator going forward, but there has been none.
Okay, so the coordinator, what is that person's qualification? What's required of a municipal alliance coordinator? What are their expertise in prevention of drug and alcohol abuse?
I'm not aware from any meetings of any requirements. I think often
There's no real requirement per se. They're to run programs. They're to invite speakers that are experts in those fields. They're to file quarterly reports. They're to assist in the budget portion.
Okay.
They are to have committee meetings with a municipal alliance board.
So no special skills are required of a person to run the municipal alliance against drug and alcohol abuse? Okay?
Yeah, none that I'm aware of.
I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that, okay? So that's, it's a concern for me as a taxpayer. We all know what a big problem drug and alcohol abuse is in not just Berkeley Township, but in the United States. And I would like to see those funds being well spent on really good educational programs aimed at the youth, okay? But I'll move on from there. Let's move on to number 28, Resolution 19-399, authorizing the tax collector to cancel taxes. That's the renderer parcel, is that correct?
No.
Okay, so my question is about the renderer parcel, okay? How much is the town paying for the renderer parcel?
There's the large 12-acre parcel.
Yes, the large 12-acre parcel.
The
Okay.
county and the town, off the top of my head, I believe was $432,500.
Okay, so that's the amount. So the county's putting up $432,500, and the
Correct.
town is as well. Okay,
Correct.
so is that going to be county land, or is that going to be township land?
Both.
Jointly owned.
Okay, but is it going to be a county park? I know it's passive recreation. It's going to be a
Right.
county park or a township park?
It doesn't even have to be a park.
Right.
Oh, so it's just going to be open space,
We
which
don't know
I'm all
yet.
for, believe me.
Yeah.
I'm all for open space preservation. I just want to know.
It's up to the two governing bodies. At this point
Okay,
in time, it's
so
not determined.
so that hasn't been determined yet. Okay, all right, that's fine. And if it does turn out to be passive recreation, that's something to consider, who's going to maintain that property.
It would be both. It's
okay.
jointly owned.
I understand that it's jointly owned, but I have, in my time working for government, I've never seen a county parks department and a township parks department, picking up garbage together arm in arm. So I'm
I've been in other municipalities, I've seen it.
okay, all right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Through the chair, I have a comment.
Sure.
On that money that's spent, we have the best cop in the school program, I think, in the states, where we match the police with the schools. And, we have a great DARE officer, and, to have a cop in the school with a uniform and a car, you can know our kids are as safe as we can make them, but there's a lot of money that's outlaid for that. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So, just after her, just pop up. If you raise your hand, you'll be there forever.
Whoever's the fastest. Hi. Hello, Council. DK Doyle, 835 Jamaica Boulevard. I promise you, this is not the hill I want to die on, but I am vehemently opposed to how the Senate Bill 2425 has been portrayed to the seniors, along with the Assembly Bill 3851. I think, Councilwoman Gingrich and Noonan, you both know the hysteria that has been whipped up
over in Holiday City and Silver Ridge. This has gotten so out of control. So Councilwoman Noonan, I appreciate you putting on record that we are not losing our 55-plus status.
They got a little crazy on that, yeah.
Oh, my God.
They
Just-
don't understand.
They do not understand. They look to the leaders to explain it to them.
That's right, I did.
And I appreciate you doing that. What I ask for the people who are not watching this broadcast, I ask that you also put that in your columns, in your newspaper columns that you guys write for the associations. I think that's where it needs to be clarified, I'm sorry. I mean, and you guys have spoken at various HOA meetings. You know what's going on out there. And just yesterday, I was speaking with a quite elderly man in Holiday City South. This guy could barely speak. I didn't ask him how old he was. He was pretty old, and he is scared to death. He was asking me. I live in Holiday City, Berkeley, not Holiday City South, but obviously it affects me. But he was asking me to explain this bill to him because his neighbors have explained to him that this bill will allow people, families to move in with kids, with school, and you know this is going on. You know this is being said, with school buses coming down the streets. And you both know, all I ask is I wish you would put forth some effort to tamp down these rumors because it has gotten completely out of control. This poor elderly gentleman was shaking. He was so upset. All of his neighbors are talking about selling because now we're going to let kids in. I just wish, but I'm not saying you said that, but you know it's being said. You know it's like playing post office, for God's sakes. I just wish you'd spend some time tamping down those rumors. And I appreciate you asking, because I think we can work together on this. I appreciate you asking the Assemblyman or providing 3 issues that are our concern. You mind sharing with me what those 3 issues are?
He just asked me, and I said I'm going to sit down. He wants me to come up with something and to email him tomorrow. He just called me at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I went over my feelings. I'm not going to change my feelings because of what was said to me by the Board of Realtors and what was in that bill. But it isn't so much even about the age. It's about a lot about the bylaws and things like that. I don't want Trenton in our business, period. But I maybe the rhetoric was bad. I'm sorry. I know I talk to people and they get everything out of context. They call me on the phone.
Yes.
I said, no, we're zone 55. No children can come in here. I'm sorry that some of the leaders in some of the associations, and I blame them for not educating their own population. However, I'm against the bill. I'm not going to change my mind about it. However, he did call me and we went over the things that I felt were bad. He said, I would like you to send me a list of what you think. Because the 2 bills, they're going to talk to each other. The Assembly and the Senate will talk to each other, and that's what the companion bill is all about. So I have to sit down and go over it with an attorney and go over some of the things that I made my statement. The state's been trying to get in for many years, and I'm tired of it. I've had to go in front of the Board of Realtors when they didn't understand the 80-20. And she even said to me, well, we want to make everybody uniform. I'm sorry, no. The associations, there's something else going on about management, you're tied to people. There's a whole lot of things going on behind the scenes. This bill is going to open up Pandora's box. But as far as I tried, like you said, I tried to make it very clear, and that's why I said on the TV, we are 55, we're not changing that we're zoned for that, and that's the way it is. And I agree with you.
And I wish you guys
TV is
also.
running right now.
I guarantee you. I mean, I think it's great that it's on TV.
Well, no,
But you know what? I don't even know where to find it on television. I don't even know where to find it on the website.
It'll be online right now. They just did it today.
Channel 21 if you have Comcast.
Thank you.
But it's going
Thank
to be
you.
on the main
Hey,
webpage.
all I'm saying is that I'm fairly in the know if I don't know, I can only imagine how many other people out there don't know, you know?
Channel 21,
So,
Comcast.
listen, I appreciate you putting forth the efforts, and I can appreciate you being against the bill. I disagree with you, and I disagree so much because I called the policy coordinator for Senator Singleton to ask him to please clarify the bill to me. And he did over the phone. He also sent me a letter. I'm sorry I didn't bring it tonight. I'll be happy to give it to all of y'all. That is not, which is great. I'll give you his, maybe you already have his contact information. That's not, and he specifically told me, I told him our concerns of what was running rampant through these associations. Oh, no. And he assured, he put it in plain language, what it is and what it is not. Listen, my time is up. I can appreciate that we're on different sides of the fence here. I just wish that you guys spend some time, particularly in your columns, because people do read the columns, to just say what it's not.
Thank you.
I will do what you ask.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's coming out September, Community Connection.
Yes,
I'll do it.
and that's exactly where people read it. I would also, and I'm hoping that's where you'll list your 3 issues that you're sending to the Assemblyman.
I didn't do them yet.
I'm sorry?
I'll let you know.
I think you probably
I have to
know.
go
I think
over.
you know where to find me.
All right, we're going to move on. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. You guys can arm wrestle. Terry, she was standing up before, so let her go first. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Donna Manley, and I live at 20 Guadalupe Drive in Holiday City, Berkeley. I have a question for the council. And how come this state can just put a bill like this together and impose upon us that, you know, we're paying taxes? And my understanding is when I write my check, it says share owners corporation. I mean, I was under the impression that I am, you know, a share owner in this development, and they have the right to come in and say now what is going to happen.
I'm sure Judy will want to elaborate on it, but
no.
the quick answer is to address Trenton, because they're the ones that do it. But we'll give you our opinions on it. But,
Sure.
yeah.
But just real quick, the money you pay to your association has nothing to do with Trenton.
No, I know. I'm not talking about the association fees. I'm talking about
The bill itself, right?
the bill itself. I mean, we own the property there, and we chose to live in a community that has an association. I'm
That
sure
has
that
bylaws.
right, and we chose to move in there and live according to those bylaws. I don't understand how the state can come in and just say, we're going to take over everything that, you
Well,
know.
they didn't, wait, let's get something clear. They didn't say they're going to take over, but there was a bill passed a while ago, and nobody paid attention. There was a state law that passed, and it adjusted some of the bylaws in a lot of the associations on certain rules. Nobody paid attention to it. But I did get the answer. Now, the other lady says, you know, it's not important, but there is. When they vote on these bylaws, and if you read the bill, the language, like Sophia said, you can just about make it out. If, let's say it passes, those bylaws are going to affect our bylaws, because whatever the state says,
Well, of
that's
course.
it.
And that's what the big concern is for all of
That is
us,
the
is
concern.
that how is that going to affect our status as a 55 and over
Oh, no,
community?
no. Let's not get one confused.
It won't affect that.
No, the only difference, my personal argument, and what we have gone through with the Board of Realtors and the letters that were sent to us personally as a township about discrimination on selling to underage people, not to live, to buy. And for me personally, that is the problem right there. But there are other issues in the bylaws, because we were told that on several occasions, real estate people came up here and addressed the council and said that we didn't sell if a child wants to buy for a parent. Then we had the flippers coming in. All of my associations in the coalition have expressed, people calling in, want to buy a house, but they don't want to live in it. They don't like our rules where you have to live for 2 years and rent the house.
Right.
And then people come in and they say, well, I own 6 houses. So what does that have to do with buying a house for your parent? Okay? That's one particular one that bothers me. And that's why the word discrimination is in 2425. I want that removed.
Right.
Now, when I talked to the Assemblyman, he said, well, you know, we're not changing the age. I understand that. But to me, they have been trying to come in since the Rice Bill. 206, 205. They personally put me in front of the Board of Realtors and did not understand the 80-20. Had to explain that to a lot of real estate people because they don't understand. We fall under the federal government to help reform. When they wrote that, they didn't mean it the way some people are interpreting it. And we don't discriminate against any race, color, creed, or anything. And the only people is the senior community can discriminate in their bylaws, in their rules. There's so many things. But this has been being pushed.
I don't see that as discrimination. I don't know where that word even comes in.
Well,
because how
I
is that
hate to tell you where it came from.
But I don't see it as discrimination. They're set up as a 55 and over community.
It's about, but you have to understand,
community.
it's about purchasing. It's about purchasing, not living. Purchasing.
But they know it's a senior community. If you want to purchase there, you can, as long as you're 55 and over.
No, you're missing it. You're missing
I'm
it.
missing. What am I
Yes.
missing?
To buy.
Yeah.
To buy. They're saying you can be under 55 to purchase. And this is where the rub comes in. And I deal with the federal government, and it says it's not the way it was intended. But the Board of Ocean County, New Jersey Realtors, and they said it to our town, are saying that we are discriminating, and the last lady said it, that we are not selling to underage people. And our point of view here is we are right now in this town, in Berkeley, dealing with a lot of flippers, and there's a lawsuit going on. They did not want to accept, we allowed the flippers to be underage with an agreement to do the house and not rent. But in our bylaws, most of the associations have, you have to live there 2 years before you can rent. They don't like that. All my associations call me up. They get phone calls on these foreclosure houses, and they're told when they go to bid on the houses that there's restrictions. I want to buy. Well, you can't. I just want to rent. It will become a renter's community. This is what's going on. They accused us of not selling to a child who wants to buy for their parent. That's not true, because we did a survey. Most of the associations are very much accommodating. But a lot of these people that say that own 5 or 6 houses.
But
in
I don't
Honey City,
understand.
South alone.
I'm confused. A child wants to buy for their
But
parent.
this is where it is.
Well, as long as their parent is over 55, the child can provide the money for them to buy
they
the
want
house.
to buy the house.
They want to buy the house in their name, is what you're saying.
Yes.
And I understand, now I understand, because there's someone on our street that has recently already has a house that they inherited. They're 55, but they bought a house that became available next door to them, and they want to be able to rent it to their child. And they can't, who's under 55, and it's not allowed according to the bylaws.
That's right.
But everybody that bought in there, I knew when I bought in Holiday City at Berkeley what the bylaws were, what the restrictions were, and I bought with full knowledge and that's what I wanted.
That's what we all wanted.
So,
we're just trying to fight it and get our voices heard and see what we can do.
Well, I do agree, though. I think that we need much more media attention to this because of it being a statewide thing.
They don't know it up north.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know how we get that.
Like they did it very.
Ma'am, I'm gonna move on. Ma'am, ma'am, right here. Right here?
He's talking.
Okay. Right in front of you.
All over. Where we got the message.
I'm going to move on. I don't think we're getting very
Okay.
far. If you'd like to speak with us after, fine. And of course, if everyone's done, you want to come back up.
No,
I'm not
that's
trying
okay.
to.
I just wanted to have an idea of.
There comes a point where I have to. But
No, it's fine,
we
it's
appreciate
fine.
your concerns. Thank you.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Terry LaCourse, 253 Hillside Avenue. No, I'm giving you my old address, 7 Seville Place, Toms River, New Jersey, Berkeley Township. I really wasn't going to speak today, but I have to say this. In my community, we sent out a robocall. We told the people that we have to have them come out and sign this petition. And we told them because we might be getting underage people buying houses. Well, there was a constant line to the office to sign that. However, our office knew what was happening and explained to the people. I also got calls at my house. I also put notes on Facebook, on Holiday City Carefree page and on regular Facebook page, explaining why we feel this is very important to sign. So we're getting less and less of those things. I suggest that, Judy, I'll help you with this, we call all the other communities and tell them to have their office help know how to explain why we feel this is a bad bill, so that people like that lady in Berkeley who just spoke about the little old man, that little old man would have a place to get the real answer from. Some of the communities did not do that, and so that's how it went rampant. Okay, I'm just making that suggestion. If you need my help, call on me.
Next. Yes, sir.
Gary Holston, 21 21st Avenue, Seaside Park. I was here last month regarding
Seaside Park or South Seaside Park?
South Seaside Park. First, I'd like to say also that I am still glad that you passed the ICE regarding the suit against. I'm glad that they.
You're a tall guy. You can bring. There you go.
I'm glad that they passed the ICE suit against our Attorney General. As a previous law enforcement individual, I can personally say it's important that you support the police and for their safety. That's the biggest thing. And there has been no cooperation between the people that don't want to cooperate with ICE and the law enforcement community. Last month, I touched on the parking on South Seaside Park on the beach area, and basically it's 20th Avenue through 24th. I left here last month feeling pretty good that the laws that are in order right now regarding the houses as they stand, there is no parking, there are no driveways, there are no curb cuts, and most of the people thought it was taken care of and was going to work out pretty well. It's not a large problem of parking there. It really isn't. It's one particular family that continues to push the issue and wants to just cause this. And as a mayor and council, I would think they would be behind the people that live on those blocks, and if they want some input, they will speak with the people that actually live on those blocks, 4 blocks that we're talking about, and we're talking about most of the time summertime. So I can't imagine the council wanting to go through hoops to try to arrange it to have people come into the neighborhood that don't live there and actually take away parking areas if you mark them out. I actually spent 5 years in the traffic division, and after looking at the area and figuring out how many parking areas you could get in if you designate a specific area, and then knowing the houses on the block with the people with 3 kids and other relatives that come and park there, you're actually going to lose parking places by putting spots on the street, because you're going to have homeowners now going, you know what, there's a spot there, I'm not parking in my driveway, I'm going to park out on the street. And everybody does it because they know they're going to have relatives come over, they know they're going to have friends stop by, so everybody wants their parking. I just heard that there was parking problem a block in because of Ebby's. I live on Ebby's block. I am actually surprised that the town has gone forward, and most of the businesses are, you know, they're thriving. They have a few months to make their money. I've been to Ebby's, I've been to Bum Rogers, I've been to all of those. I can tell you that I thought Ebby's is a good idea because when you go in there and there's a 45-minute wait, you're standing around with your thumb in your pocket. If they have something outside, at least you can sit down, and I don't think it's going to be an influx. I know I'm not going to go to a location like that to sit around to just drink, okay? There's bars for that, and there's other places that you can do that.
Food's good, man.
That is, there's parking all along Central, both sides of it, back and forth. Every summer, no matter what, even when there wasn't thriving businesses there, it's busy. We do get the overflow from the park. I understand that. They are not our problems, not up on the beach block by us. I hear about handicapped people. What are we going to do about that? Well, I don't know about you, but at my age, and there's certain days, I have trouble walking up all those steps on 21st to get to the beach. There's two different levels of steps right there. You're not going to get handicapped people with wheelchairs and that coming to that street to go up there. I just think that you're jumping in and trying to change something that isn't a problem except for one particular family that wants to press the issue. I thought once that it was brought up at the council meeting regarding the parking under Title 39 that, hey, there is no parking there, and there wouldn't be a problem. Thank you very much.
Through the chair, I would like for the gentleman to give me a call and we'll get together with him. But I know the administrator has been trying to get that fenced-in lot from the state, so Epi's employees and valet and bums and everybody could park in that lot, and most of the employees from the town. And he's getting a lot of pushback from the state to let us park in that lot. So, you know, maybe we can get some help with that also.
I just have a comment, too, about the Title 39 reference. The statute is talking about not being allowed to park in front of a driveway, and it comes down to what a driveway is, whether it's actually the whole front. Sure. The question about title, or the comment about Title 39 and no parking, it does not allow you to park in front of a driveway. And so the question becomes, what is the actual driveway? And that's what the town is starting to look into, because there's a difference of opinion as to what a driveway is and can be. But referencing the general statute does not necessarily pertain to this issue. Again, it's, you cannot park in front of a driveway. It doesn't mean that you can't park in front of individuals' homes. So that's what the town is looking into.
Don Waitman, South Seaside Park. I am the family, number one, that he is referring to. Number two, I will not be intimidated by the actions of a group of people on 21st Avenue. I will tell you what happened. When I first started parking on 21st Avenue, it was back in 1984. That's when my house was there. I've always used 21st Avenue. As the 80s and 90s occurred, nothing happened. As 2000s came in, there were some people that didn't like us to park there. But I continued to park there. I continued to park on the right-hand side. I came back from my car one day, and Judy remembers this because I told her my car was keyed, all right, from the back Jeep to the front. Now, I didn't call the police on that because I'm thinking, all right, and I saw someone there by the side of the car because I was up on the top perch. I let it go. Maybe I shouldn't have. A week later, I ended up parking on the other side. Someone took a beer bottle, broke it in half, stuck it under my front right tire. I always go around and take a look at what's going on. Sure enough, what happened, I didn't run over it, I got rid of it. That's the second item. A third item, all right, I come out, there is a screw underneath my tire. I guess they don't want me to park there. I'm not going to back down. This is a public highway, this is a public road, I have every right to park there. What really got my gall, well, was what happened about 2 weeks ago. The residents, not all of them, We had a couple women, had a man, looked at my daughter for parking there, looked at her and said, basically, you're a moron, you're a creature, and started yelling at her. Now, I realize that is harassment that's going on there. These residents, or should I say, homeowners, don't want me to park there. That's not going to happen. I went and told Barnier when he was here as a policeman, give me a ticket so I can go to court. He wrote me a ticket. I went to court. When I went to court saying, I'm parking here, I had pictures. The judge looked at me. First of all, the prosecutor didn't want me to go before the judge, and I said, I want to go before the judge. The judge looked at me and said, what? They can't use their whole property as a parking area. That's exactly what the judge said to me. So I went back up there and I continued to park. I look at it right now, the only ones that can park up there are people with permits. You authorized only residents to get those permits. There's no outsiders getting a permit. So in essence, when they are calling the police to come up and we have people illegally parked there, you're talking about residents, homeowners, voters that park there. I am the last, and my daughter are the last ones now that park there because they have berated, they have gone after people, they have said things to people. People don't want to put up with it. I will not back down. I have a permit. The road is right away is 70 foot wide. The asphalt is 30 foot wide, which means the right of way is 20 foot of gravel, 20 foot of gravel. I'll give you another example. I pull the car up and my daughter pulls the car up. There's no one parking there. We come back down. They're directing cars to park at an angle where the car is already parked, and then they call the police and say, someone's blocking my driveway, when originally there was no cars there. So I don't know what type of game is going on with the residents of 21st Avenue, but I will not be intimidated, and that's what it is. I have taken pictures, and I'm going to talk with you right now. I have taken pictures of that and what's occurring. I have gotten the pictures, dates. If this continues, to me, that's harassment. And the harassment is if I'm parking and you're parking and no one's there and you're parking the cars there and you come out and you approach my daughter and say things, that's what is it called? Harassment, intimidation, and bullying? To me, that is harassment. And I will go to the police and I will file charges for that because I don't expect that to happen in my town. I'm a local. I grew up in South Seaside Park. My folks were from South Seaside Park. My grandmother was from South Seaside Park. I'm appalled to listen to when she was talking about the benches, trying to put benches on the bayfront, and people blew up to chase the benches away. We're trying to beautify that shouldn't happen. We have people who put their poles out in the water. Residents don't want people to put their poles out in the water to put their boats because they're blocking the sunset and the view. And they'll yank the pole out. Now, either we look at it and say, we're going to have rules and regulations, or it becomes where everyone does their own thing. And I don't want to see that happen right now. And for what my daughter suffered through with this, and I'm going to tell you right now, my daughter, really, someone owes her an apology, to be honest with you, because no man should ever approach a young girl and say that. to a young girl. I'm appalled at that a man would pick on a girl. That is horrible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi. My name is Maria Sasso. I own the home at 19 21st Avenue, South Seaside Park,
That's
one
your
off the
address?
beach.
Okay. That's your address?
That's I own that home. I came down here after work. I work up in North Jersey. I came down for this meeting, and I most of the time up north, but I own the home there. I was excited when I heard Gary talk about the last council meeting where the chief had indicated there were going to be, I was told that there were going to be, tickets were going to be given and the rules were going to be followed. So I went out and my daughter was home. She called me and said, "Mom, someone parked in the middle of the driveway." I said, "Call the police." So that's what she did. I came back. The officer was there, was placating me and telling me he wasn't giving a ticket. She wasn't going to move, but I still had my other daughter coming down because the rules were going to change. But I said, the rules today indicate this is a driveway. I was upset. Finally, she did move. He didn't give her a ticket, and I walked away because I was not going to ruin the rest of my day by this incident, and I went inside. So I called Chief on Friday. I know she was at a meeting, followed up again on Monday, sent me to the traffic person who was on vacation. Then I spoke to another officer who again continued to placate me about future rules. The rule right now, from what I understand, is that if someone parks in the middle of my property, and I've got cars all lined up on the property, that they should be not parking there. And I don't want to give them, and honestly, I don't really want them to get a ticket. Because how you ruin a person's beach day? I've even offered people who couldn't find parking, specifically the gentleman who just spoke, his daughter, a number of times throughout the years. Pull in. We can fit more cars, more people can be happy. Other senior citizens on the block who've had surgery, bring your car, park it, and you're only one house off the beach. If we're going to do anything regarding parking on the island, we should all be involved in the conversation, not one individual, and it should be everyone, because I drove up and down the blocks from 24th to 20th Sunday night because I was so upset, and it's going to be really hard because there are so many different types of structures and so many older homes versus newer homes, and you can't just write a rule then apply it to everyone because it's not going to work easily. And you may have a rule that may not be discriminatory, but the enforcement will be discriminatory. So I'm asking, keep us involved. Do not hear one side or the other. Both sides need to be heard. And I don't know if this is, I understand this is the first time I've attended a meeting down here. Excuse me?
Welcome.
Thank you. It would be nice if these could be available to us on the island. We don't have Comcast. We have Optimum. So we don't get to participate.
Putting it on YouTube.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know that. So it'd be nice because we don't know what's going on at these meetings. So the parking situation does not have to be as bad. When people come up and can't find a spot and they can't walk or there's something, we've all offered to pull in so we can maximize our frontage. And I also don't expect other people to tell me how to use my frontage so that they can park where they want to park. Would you like someone to come to your house and say, well, I want you to park this way so that I can park here? It's my property. Until this becomes a socialist state, we may be going there, but we still live in a democracy, and it's my property. Thank you.
Yeah, when this was first discussed, I had suggested that we have to get the stakeholders involved and maybe putting together a committee with stakeholders and kind of talk about it and kind of come up with a way we can, all come together with the stakeholders and a committee together to do that. And we're probably going to do that in the new year.
All right, just by show of hands, because my bladder is only so large, and we've been up here for 3 hours. Ms. Zoppi, the gentleman right here with the cool Fender shirt, I like it. Anyone else would like to speak? Ma'am? Anyone else? So we can go a few minutes and then,
I
okay,
promise
Ms.
to
Zoppi,
keep
go.
it short.
Go ahead.
20,
Tom,
South
through the chair,
Seaside
real
Barkley
quick.
and Zoppi.
The lady was right that, Leanne and I, we walked just about every house there, and, some of the houses, the older houses are so small that I don't even think a car would fit in front of them. So it is a case by case, so we are looking at, everything. But, you just can't have an 80-foot or 100-foot driveway, but, it is a case by case, and we're looking at everything and doing this right.
In the legislative, this is, just so you know, I don't know, what gets disseminated, but we've been discussing this and trying to come up with resolutions. But go ahead, ma'am.
I promise I'll keep it short.
Sure.
In reference to this whole situation, a town without rules is a town with chaos. Now, that is what we're dealing with over there. But in reference to the comments that were made about my way, your way, our way, it should be the right way. And the right way is what's fair to everybody. It's not just what's fair for people that live on the beach block. Now, it's not about me saying that I had my sister had ALS and she couldn't walk, or that my 83-year-old relative comes to the beach every Sunday and she can't walk with her stuff. It has to do with she can't walk there, not because she's handicapped and we need a handicap spot, because it's hard. It's hard for people to bring all that stuff up to the beach. I think that there should be order on this block, but I think that it should be done in a professional manner, not just what applies to a homeowner, but to a community. I realize that people don't want other people parking in front of their house. I lived on 23rd Avenue for 23 years and had the most obnoxious neighbor claiming his whole property as frontage. And anytime anyone was even 5 inches on his property, he got off his chair and started cursing and yelling at people. This stuff has got to stop. It's got to stop. There's got to be order. You have to say, you can park here. It's not up to the homeowner. It's not up to that homeowner on 23rd Avenue to tell me where the heck I should park. The township should be telling me where I can park. End this nonsense. I'm sure that, you know what, you have a beautiful home, you don't want people parking up there, but too bad, just like the people on the bay. They bought in front of the bay, they don't own that property. It is bayfront owned by the state and partly by Berkeley. You have no right to tell somebody they can't put a bench there. And I resent the fact that these people came up here and they got their way and the benches were moved. Now, nothing against you. Jim Sperber did a wonderful job, but this resident scared the crap out of the workers. So what did they do? They took the forms out and they left. Why? Because people are screaming at you? Too bad for throwing a temper tantrum and having the township give in to people with temper tantrums. Let's do what's fair for everyone, okay? So let's get off of that. As far as Ebby's and Bum Rogers, I am a person like you, Jim. I'm all for businesses. And you know what? I remember back in the day when I first bought there and we had Top of the Mast there, and Top of the Mast was an awesome place. And it was run terribly and we lost it. You know what? I'm for let's do whatever we can to keep these businesses thriving, because that's all that we have. If we don't have Ebby's, if we don't have Bum Rogers, we have nothing. So I don't want to bust their chops about Jim, you were saying, I looked at it, you looked at it, I didn't see it as being so bad. I don't really want to bust them because I want them to thrive. I want Bum Rogers to thrive. Without that, South Seaside Park is going to be done, because we can't get the attention that we need if we're going to start busting the chops of the people who have restaurants there over every little thing. You know what? What's going to happen to them? And the other thing that I wanted to address, Jim, was the Airbnb thing. You said about the 3 strikes you're out with Airbnb. That's if there's a legitimate complaint, because I have a neighbor that calls several times on me all year long. So what does that mean? Something like that code enforcement actually fines?
To the police to see if there's a legitimate complaint.
All right, because it's not just somebody complaining, right?
There's a lot of complainers.
And there's a hearing that goes along with it, so there are standards that have to be met.
Okay. As far as the Airbnb thing with the governor, there was a ordinance that or law that we had asked him to pass, and everybody was really happy that he passed it. But in actuality, the governor did nothing, because anybody that rents from Airbnb or VRBO still has to pay the state and the township a lodging tax. So he said that if you're a homeowner and you rent your house on your own, you don't have to pay it.
Yeah, we don't have one.
I just want to
I know.
clarify.
So I'm just saying, like, if I can get your help in any way at all, because I'm going to as soon as the summer's over, I'm going to go back on that and trying to, get to clarify that. How are you going to get people from out of state, from California? To me, I think the Board of Realtors is behind this because they're all excited about it. And us as homeowners say, well, where am I supposed to get my clients from? I can't get them from Craigslist because I already have Nigerians renting my home. They have pictures of my home, they got descriptions of my home, and they're renting it on Craigslist because that's how unreputable that site is. But VRBO and Airbnb is a good place to rent your home, and the governor is charging astronomical fees. So anything that I could do for support, about that, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Larry Bouquet, 26 21st Avenue. Basically, my family's been here since 58, paying taxes. All right. I do not stay here in the summer anymore. I leave for 2 months. It's crazy. As far as Edby's goes, you guys should police it a little better because they don't remove things at the end of October or anything else. They take the canvas off, but they leave everything else there. They park their trucks there, leave the windows down, whatever. As far as parking, yeah, this should be done by a committee to come up with a plan for how this is going to, work and park. As far as one lady said, offering things, I've offered. We have a bathroom that's outside. And I've seen people come down with their kids. Go use my bathroom. You want to park here? Somebody will park here. So I think, people can work together on that street like they have in the past, okay? The one thing you have to realize, and you do, there's only single-lane streets in and out of South Seaside Park. If you put all this parking on all of these, just if you do it on the ocean side, you should do it on the bay side. Make it all equal, okay? But how are the people going to get on and off the island? It's a traffic jam now. And it's all because of the state park, which, okay, I understand. Everybody wants to go to the park. They shut it down. What do? All right? I think it's good that people do come to the beach. I truthfully think that sometimes they get screwed. They come to the beach, they want to have a nice day, they get a ticket for no seatbelt. Okay, that's the law. They get a ticket because they're trying to find a place to park. They get a ticket because, or they have their cooler that they can't bring on the beach, and they're all legitimate, so they're all back and forth all the time. But you have to think, you can only jam so much through a hole. And I think if you make all this parking, you're jamming too much through the hole. That's my comment.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, and thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Ma'am? Yes, lady in the back in the blue. All right, be kind to my bladder. Name and address, please.
I'll be quick.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Council, Mayor, Chief DeMichael, Gail Whiteman, 2000 Barnegat Avenue. This will be very short. I am the family that the gentleman is speaking of, and I use that term very loosely since it was my daughter that he attacked on July 4th. I believe there is a police record, so it is already on record. I'm here to say that I have a no-tolerance policy for what is happening. You cannot use your entire property as your driveway. If that were the case, my home on 20th Avenue, when people park for ebbies, for bums, I would never in a million years think to run out of my home and accost them, curse at them, call them names, threaten police action. We live in a beach community. There is a beach, there's an ocean, there are restaurants and entertainment. This is where you bought. Think about the implications. I am troubled to think that if something happens, I will call the police because it's frivolous. My father was a City of Trenton fireman. I know what happened when people did frivolous things. But I will not be intimidated by these people. I will not have my family accosted. My daughter, who does that? It's not just a woman, it's a man. Who does that? I heard them laughing when we talked about Ebby's, when you said there was an overflow. They do overflow in front of our property. Again, I would never think to go out and tell them they can't park there. Many times, we've had to circle our truck around, find a spot, and park there. Check and watch, hey, Don, did they leave yet? Yeah, okay. No, who moved the truck? I did. You were asleep. I moved it. You live in a beach community. Get over yourselves. I thank you for listening. I'm sorry I was emotional, but this has turned into a very upsetting situation. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Gary Holston, 21 21st Avenue, Seaside Park. Just to clarify something, I was there when her daughter parked and the police were called, and I can tell you I did not curse at her daughter or say anything like that. She actually was told, excuse me, that's not a parking place, and if you leave the car, the police will be called. She stood there arguing with my neighbor's daughter, and that's the only reason I was involved. And I just said, go to the beach, don't argue.